It is items 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 13. And we are dreading when everything comes back on another agenda that was already full. And I will announce them as soon as we actually open the meeting. But for now, we're still not recording.
You added all, I guess there's recent postponements, right?
Toyota postponed during the day today.
Yeah, at about 2:00 today.
Yeah.
Did you say 4, 5, 6?
Yes, I said.
Vista.
So
Yeah.
Vista Drive postponed yesterday
Oh, that's right,
afternoon
Dennis,
after
you walked
you
away
left
at
the
3:00.
meeting.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got to go at 3. All right, so
Yeah. So
I'm all marked up. Do we have any applications tonight?
Yeah, we do. We have we have the two families. We have the settlement. We have 189 Sound Beach Avenue, and we have the zoning regulation
All
amendments.
right.
So we still have stuff to do, amazingly.
Just the important stuff, though. That's it.
So this is going to be an extra long session.
So it was just really funny because when you think about it, we were going to be here really late tonight with all the stuff we had, but we're good. Okay, so still no low. Let me check in with him. He's a minute late because it's 4:02.
We need a technical qualification.
He's there?
He just showed up.
Great. Okay, so now we can, as soon as he comes.
His name just appeared.
Okay, so as soon as he's in the meeting, then we can start.
Recording in progress.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Town of Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission meeting being held virtually on Zoom. Today's Wednesday, October 15th, 2025. Before we begin, several announcements. First of all, during the first half hour or so of the meeting, there will only be 4 commissioners here, as we have had some emergencies during the day. And so for a while, there are only going to be 4 of us. And then shortly thereafter, Mary Jenkins will join us, and she will be seated for Mr. Wells, who will not be joining us tonight. In addition, we have quite a number of postponements. For those of you taking notes, it's items 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and 13. Those are Vista Drive LLC, which is going to be items 4, 5, 6, and that is for final coastal subdivision and 2 coastal site plans. And the last one is also a special permit. That's items 4, 5, and 6 postponed, 21 Vista Drive. In addition, Toyota, which is TCS Realty LLC at 75 East Putnam Avenue, has postponed their 2 applications. One is for a zoning map amendment, and the other is for a coastal site plan and special permit. Then already on the agenda is that Berkeley Insurance had postponed item number 10 for a final coastal site plan and special permit on Davenport Avenue and Steamboat Road. And finally, item 13, Eagle View Holding, also is already on the agenda as postponed. That's a final site plan and special permit to demolish a nursing home at Greenwich Woods and build an 830G affordable housing facility. With that, we will begin with our agenda. The first item is the potential settlement agreement for the litigation of Annex Allen I trustee et al. Versus the Town of Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission, and Klein Eric M. et al. Versus Town of Greenwich Planning and Zoning Commission et al. In the Connecticut Superior Court. This is related to a decision the commission made. When did we make the decision? In 2022?
22.
Yep.
22 at 17 Bryan Road. It's misspelled, right, in the agenda? It's Brian?
It should be Brian, but did it say Byron again?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Doesn't matter, right?
No, we are, yeah, this is formality for you to vote. So this is
Okay.
docket.
So it's 17 Bryan Road in Old Greenwich. Everybody on the commission had a chance to read it over the weekend. Peter Lowe?
I'm right here, yeah.
Okay. Everybody on the commission had a chance to read it over the weekend, and a few questions were asked during the briefing. Does anybody have further questions or comments at this time on the commission?
No.
and Patrick, would it be fair to summarize it that the gist of the settlement is to have revised one of the conditions that the commission put on the approval by 5 feet in the setback, that's the most important item?
That, to the commission, I think it is. There is a secondary issue that matters to the neighborhood, is that there will be a dedicated transfer of property for once the subdivision comes in, it would create an access way
For the neighborhood to
And
access
but
the
that will be
beach.
subject to a later decision
To a
by.
later decision by us. But for now, what we're agreeing to is a 5-foot change in our setback. Okay, does anybody in the public, Mary's here?
She is?
Yeah.
Oh,
We'll have to ask her how long she was. Well, we didn't discuss it, so she really hasn't missed. I mean, you heard the summary. Nobody had any questions, Mary, so you're up to date. Hi, Mary.
Okay. Sorry
Um,
for the delay, Madam Chair.
Oh, that was perfect. You weren't even 20 minutes late. Does anybody in the public have any comments or questions on this settlement on Bryan Road? I see there are some neighbors here. Does anybody wish to comment? Mr. Hawkins? It says you're declining. Do you just, okay, here you come. Hello, Mr. Hawkins. If you'll unmute, you're ready to go.
Thank you very much.
It's good to see you.
Yes, and all of you as well. So just one clarification. What you will be approving today is the settlement agreement.
Yes,
And the settlement agreement provides for a subsequent P&Z submission after DEEP has approved the docks. So the actual change in the setback will not be modified today. That
Right.
will be subsequent to the DEEP.
subsequent to the deep. Thank you for that, because I didn't make that clear. I just wanted everybody to know that that was the one big change. Is
Right.
there any comment you have in representation of the neighbors and the residents or anything in regard to the settlement?
Yes, so we think this is a good settlement and we entirely support it. So thank you.
Great. Okay, thank you very much. We're still waiting for you to apply to Conservation Commission or wetlands.
Well, I'm technically retired from my day job, so it might be a possibility.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to speak on this settlement proposal? Raise your virtual hand. No. Okay, since we have all of us here, Mr. Secretary, we would happily take a motion at this time.
Okay, short and sweet, unless you want to add anything to it. This is 17 Bryan Drive, proposed stipulation settlement between Planning and Zoning Commission, the Town of Greenwich, and neighboring property owners concerning a lot at 17 Bryan Road, Old Greenwich, Connecticut. Motion to approve stipulation of settlement, noting the following. The project consists of a final coastal site plan and special permit to construct a new single-family dwelling on a property owned by Nicole Aronson and David Aronson, located in the R12 and COZ zones. Whereas Exhibit A is a zoning location survey revised dated 8/19/25. Exhibit B is the street addresses of properties shown on map 906, and Exhibit C is easement declaration and quitclaim document.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, that was Ms. Jenkins?
Yes, please. Is that
Ms.
all
Jen-
right, Madam Chair? I know I missed.
Absolutely.
the
No, you
discussion.
didn't miss any discussion. We
Okay.
talked about that. We know you heard the clarification and we didn't have any discussion. Ms.
Second then.
Jenkins has seconded. Ms. Jenkins, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Yeski,
Aye.
Mr. McRae,
Aye.
Mr. Lowe,
Aye.
and Albin is also aye. And with that, the motion passes 5-0. And we go to our next application. 3 Chinmoy LLC for a final site plan to construct a 2-family. Oh, I should bring in the applicant. Casey?
No, Rocco.
This is Rocco, sorry. When the two of them close together, I kept getting,
There's similar applications back to back. That's understandable.
okay. So I'll wait till Rocco is in. 3 Chinmoy LLC for a final site plan to construct a 2-family residence with front yard parking on 2 parcels located at 3 Chinmoy Place in the R6 zone. Mr. Rocco, if you would kindly proceed. Hi.
Hi. Good afternoon, members of the commission. So my name is Rocco DeLeo, the architect and owner of 3 Chinmoy LLC.
Can you put his full name in? I know you don't need to right now.
Sorry, Rocco DeLeo, DILEO.
Okay.
Okay. We are in for final site plan approval, specifically for parking within the front yard setbacks, or setback. Since we're here, I'd like to give a full overview of the project. And what I would like to start with.
I think the commission may have some questions for you as well.
Sure. Yeah, I was part of the briefing meeting yesterday.
Okay.
Listening in, so I believe we can go over those questions. Could someone give me sharing capability?
Sure. Hold on one
Did he
second.
ask nice enough?
It was very polite.
Okay. I didn't hear him say. All right, go ahead, Mr. DeLeo, you're ready to go.
Okay.
So one of the things we're going to want to see is that basement. We'll discuss that basement floor plan.
Yep. So you guys can see the Google map here, right?
Yep.
Okay. So just to locate yourselves here, South Water Street, come up Hervey Street, up to Peck, and then Chinmoy is a private road that was formerly James Street West. Chinmoy, as I mentioned, kind of starts at Peck and then stops and then turns into a paper road that leads to South Water Street. So it's a fairly private, secluded parcel of land. And when taking a street view of it, that is me way down here at the end of the private road. You'll notice that 2 Chinmoy also has parking within the front yard setback, as well as 5 Chinmoy. That 2 has parking within the front yard setback. So, seeking approval for front yard setback or parking within the front yard setback on 3 Chinmoy, certainly fits the context of this particular road.
Excuse me, Mr. Rocco,
Mr.
or DeLeo.
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 Oh, yeah, we're going to call you Mr. Rocco for a while.
I'm
That's
sorry.
fine too.
You said clearly we can see that there's parking in the front yard. Is that the front yard, that gray car where it's parked? Or is that a side yard?
This is the front yard.
That's the front. Where, and the front door is where? Behind that bush?
Right here, yeah.
Okay. And where's the other house that has this?
Unfortunately, Google Maps doesn't go down this private road, but this is 2 Chinmoy, and the front door also faces Chinmoy Avenue.
And are those multifamily?
They are. This is an existing non-conforming 3-family home, and this is a 2-family home built in the 80s.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so let me share my other screen. So in some terms of site context, that is the context of the neighborhood, site context. We're certainly working with a challenging site here. From a topographic perspective, the property slopes about 20 feet from east to west. In order to make this house work and fit within the regulations of the R6 zone and make the grade planes work, make the building height elevations work, without exceeding the grade plane walls, yes, without a doubt that there is quite a bit of site improvements that need to take place here in order to accommodate a compliant home. I will also note that November of 2024, I did go before the Zoning Board of Appeals for grade plane walls. to minimize the amount of site impact, and that application was denied. So here I am today with a new design that is compliant to all the regulations. And again, now seeking approval for parking within the front yard setback. From a site improvement perspective, as I alluded to, we do have retaining walls to kind of lift up this property and lift up the first floor elevation of this house so that it does align or generally align with the elevations of Chinmoy Avenue. This allows us to get direct access to the property to accommodate the parking, two driveway parking spaces and one garage space for Unit 2, and similarly 2 parking in the driveway, 1 in the garage for Unit 1. Unit 1 has a walkout. Unit 2, the basement, or at least the first floor, is a full story above the rear yard. But again, we do have a series of retaining walls around the property, again, to make the house work from a grade plane and height perspective.
Oh, hold on, Mr. Second.
Sure.
Hold on just a second, because Mr. McRae has a question. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. DeLeo, let's talk about the driveway entrance to and the parking here. I was at the site today. Yes, it's a significant, severe slope from top to bottom. Yes, you're going to have all kinds of retaining walls because it doesn't work unless you have them. Right now, I think our biggest concern is the parking in the front yard and the layout of the floor plan, the floor plans for the basement, that kind of thing. But let's start with the parking. You've got 6 spaces, 3 each. It's more of actually trying to make sure that we've got the proper turning radiuses to get in and out of this. It looks like the throat of the actual curb cut is only 12 feet. I believe the standard for Greenwich is 14. Actually being out there, it seems that there is the property on the other side of this Chinmoy, the 2 family, seems to park kind of willy-nilly all over the place. I think one of the biggest concerns I have is making sure that you guys can get out of this comfortably, okay, without bumping into something else. And the grade itself right there from your view here, that white fence is on top of a wall that actually falls right off into almost nothing. So I think, I don't believe I saw any kind of turning radius documents in the drawing sets.
Yeah, did you send them in at some point, Mr. DeLeo?
The planning and zoning department does have all the drawings. I'm sorry.
The turning
was-
radius drawings. I thought you
Oh,
had
the
sent
turning
them in.
radius drawings.
I thought you sent them in early this morning or late this afternoon.
No,
no?
I didn't submit
Or
anything.
somebody else did. So what Mr.
That was 2
McRae
sales.
was
Okay,
on 2 sales. I know it. You can't put them both.
Nope, that was
you
for
know,
2 sales.
people get confused. So what Nick is saying, and he raised this yesterday, you heard him raise it, that he was concerned about that.
the reason we're really looking at parking in the front yard is screening and maneuverability.
Okay.
I'm looking at the landscape plan. It looks like you've got some pretty good screening. I would say the more the better. And taller would be great. Now on here, you've got that hooked retaining wall. Is that the retaining wall that's existing out there, or is this going to be new?
I'm sorry, which retaining wall, Nick?
The hooked retaining wall right at the throat of the
The
curb cut.
hooked, sorry. This is going to be new, that will tie into the existing brick retaining wall, that's
Okay.
now along the end of Chidmoy.
Okay. And then all of the other walls are new, but they're all sloped and follow the grade because they're grade plane walls.
Correct.
Okay. And all of your drainage is actually under the driveway.
Not all of the drainage. So a portion of the drainage is under the driveway, these culta tanks here. We do have pervious pavers also underneath the 2 or 4 parking spaces. And then we have more culta tanks back here to accommodate the remainder of the drainage requirements.
Okay. Just a quick question. Have you done any soil testing to test for ledge?
We have.
Okay. And tell me about that.
We did not find ledge.
Great. Okay. Now let's start the floor plan. We were looking at the basement floor plan.
Yes.
And we're concerned that if, just on face value, we've got units other than there's, the 2 units, but I'm looking at actually what potentially could be another unit in the basement. You have a washer and dryer, you have a enclosed bedroom. There's no direct connection from the upstairs to the downstairs other than going through a accessory room and a door. That's on the unit to the I guess it's to the west. And then the other unit actually, it's just an unfinished basement. Why is one unit indicated as an unfinished basement and the other is indicated as a completely finished basement that actually potentially could be another unit?
So really, it was done so from a marketing perspective to show the possibilities of what could take place here in the basement. But more so, really, this unit here is kind of more fitted out because it's really designed to act as an amenity to support the rear yard. Again, given that the first floor is a full story above the rear yard, we want to provide access to the basement for bathroom, for entertainment, for a guest bedroom. But I did speak, well, I heard your comments yesterday and I spoke to Jacqueline right after that call. And, I really have no issues in removing this door. And then Jacqueline brought it to my attention that our strategy of having a washer and dryer in each one of these units to achieve the 100 square foot GFA credit for our FAR really wasn't needed because we had enough of a threshold before we crossed the maximum requirements. So similarly, I have no issues in getting rid of the washer and dryer as well, if that makes the board feel more comfortable. But really, to answer your question directly, Nick, it was just more of an amenity to support the rear yard and for marketing purposes to, show a buyer kind of what the basement could look like.
Okay,
If you didn't have that, or maybe, Nick, if they didn't have that basement space, would they be able to reduce some of the grade, some of the cut?
Oh yeah, because actually you have you have the walkout out of the entertainment room, and you have a
Yep.
guest bedroom.
That's what I was thinking.
If you got rid of the bedroom, you wouldn't really need the egress window. And if you were raising grade up, you probably wouldn't even need the walkout to the backyard under the deck.
But
that's actually just logic. If you wanted to raise the grade, that's how you get rid of those things, and you could raise grade.
I wouldn't be able to raise grade enough to cover the basement and meet the regulations of the R6 zone. With the
In other words, not have it count for FAR?
No, my understanding is that the grade plane walls can only be 30 inches tall, and then a sloping surface or grade from that point can only be maxed out at 33%. So really, this house is positioned at just those dimensions, a 30-inch tall grade plane wall sloping up 33%, and then the last 6 feet slopes to 2%, and that puts us right there.
So what I would say with this issue is that the guest bedroom, the washer dryer, the door from that auxiliary space at the bottom of the stairs, if that all disappears, then we're looking at actually, yes, it's just an unfinished basement with a bathroom and a walkout.
Yep.
I would go even to say actually that guest bedroom window, just so they can't put another bedroom back in,
Take it out.
take the window out or put a smaller one in. Even the unfinished basement, that's a window well. It's an egress window. Leads me to think, yeah, somewhere down the line, somebody's going to put a bedroom in there.
Well, from a code perspective, I need 2 means of egress out of this basement. Right, we are planning to finish the basement out as habitable space and per code. Again, the stairs being 1, the egress window being the 2nd. If I get rid of this window,
you don't need an egress window for a family room. You need one for a bedroom.
I need 2 means of egress for a habitable space.
Okay, so I would say getting rid of the walls. Okay, you've got the walkout, so you can keep that door. That's fine, right? Good idea. Get rid of that one window. There's your two means of egress for that one side, and you can keep the window well on the unfinished side.
So
Okay.
we're not redesigning you, but we are telling you in very simple terms, very uncomfortable with this space because everything in
It
we
offers a little more, a little wider array of investment choices.
what?
That's,
Let
I
me
guess,
turn that off. Okay. So we are uncomfortable with the bedroom and the way you had it because we were thinking this really becomes an ADU. So whatever you need to do to redesign it and then to go back and look at the conservation comments who are asking that whatever you can do to reduce the grading. And I know you got caught out by the retaining walls because ZBA didn't see that as a hardship because they felt you could build around it, which is they're absolutely in their powers to do that. So conservation's asking you to try to do less grading. We're saying, wow, don't make it look like you're going to have a third unit in here because we're really avoiding that. And because all of these sites get congested when you do that, they're just not built for it. Anything else, Nick?
Mr. Delay, did you have the opportunity to talk to the neighbors? I think one of the things that actually would make this property successful is to make sure everybody on the street is with this, because when I was there today, it seems there were cars kind of parked willy-nilly. You're doing your best to make sure they get off the street, but I really would not like to see a parking lot where you can't use this, even though you've actually, conformed to the zoning for parking, but the neighbors are all over the place. One of the things you might want to do is go talk to the property owner and talk to them about what's going on next door.
Understood.
And so basically this setup that you have where you've got an apartment down here is not what we don't want to see that. That looks too much like an apartment. You've got a
Understood.
bedroom, you've got a sitting room. It's a boarding space. I know people who have boarders and this is exactly what they do. And they have all of this little refrigerator and a counter and just no stove. And so that's what we're trying to avoid here.
Understood, Madam Chairman, and that certainly is not my intention, and I have no issues in getting rid
Okay.
of the bedroom, the washer and dryer, as well as the door.
Okay. Well, the wall, is that a retaining wall? I mean, is that a structural wall between the bedroom and the entertainment room?
This wall, yes, I'm sorry, this wall,
That's a structural wall?
it's not a structural wall, no. So this wall we would remove as well and
Yeah.
make Unit
Yeah.
2's basement look like Unit 1's basement.
Perfect. Okay. Mr. McRae, anything more?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Mr. Lowe?
Yeah, I wonder if you would be willing to comment. Conservation has some concerns about the preservation of the trees on the site, and also is recommending enhancing the landscape plan with more diversified native species. Those two things, and then in particular, I wondered if you might just comment on what your opinion is with regard to the adequacy of the screening for these cars parked in the front yard.
Sure, Mr. Lowe. So regarding the preservation of the 24-inch maple tree that is located right here, that is accounted for and it is planned to remain as is. I hope that addresses your first question. The second question regarding the variety of landscaping, I heard the comment yesterday during the briefing meeting and spoke to my landscape architect, and he doesn't see any issues with providing some variety, not only kind of here in the front, but also kind of going around the perimeter of the property rather than just having a hedge of arborvitaes.
Well, the distinction is native species also.
Yep. I relayed that to my landscape architect as well, and he didn't seem to have an issue with it. We thought we had, the variety between the hollies and the grasses and the arborvitaes, as well as the accents of the dogwood trees. But if the commission's looking for more of a variety, we can certainly offer that.
Well, we
As-
try to be we try to be responsive to the conservation comments.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Understood. As regards to the screening, Mr. Lowe, I assume you're talking about the screening for the parking?
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Yes.
Yep. So, first and foremost, I think it's important to understand that the site characteristics here, aside from landscaping, there are site features. For example, this existing stone retaining wall, that is, the top of the wall is 5 feet higher than the proposed grade. So, approaching the property from east to west, the wall is actually providing, solid screening. But yes, obviously, at one point or some point, you pass that wall, and then you encounter what we're currently proposing is a continuous 5-foot tall hedge of hollies across here and across here to screen the two parking designated areas. We also prepared some renderings to kind of help put this in perspective. This is that wall that I mentioned that really screens out, a good portion of the parking here. And then here are the 2 rows of holly hedges that are 5 feet tall, that also help screen out the parking. So we felt, that the proposal, did as it was supposed to do in screening out the parking. And so that is our thoughts
Yeah,
behind it.
I would just suggest that I appreciate that wall that I'm looking at in this rendering. As you turn from right to left on this image, you encounter the opening for the driveway. And now, if you're looking at it straight on, I could envision you might be able to screen the cars there. They're not screened totally right now with the height of the whatever those bushes are, but I could envision if those things were to get taller, they might do a job with this perspective looking head on. If you're approaching from right to left, there's quite a wide opening, and it would seem awkward, if not difficult, to adequately screen as you move again from right to left on this image. Right, so we make quite a leap from that first image to the second image, and in between you'll have the 2 cars that might be parked on the left side of the structure there, fully exposed, it seems to me. So that's my concern.
Fully exposed to
my eye.
In other words, to the street.
Yeah, from the perspective of being on the street. This is a dead-on image, right dead center looking. And yes, I can still see the cars, but they are in this image seemingly mostly screened. But this isn't how you have to go from one place to another to get to this perspective. And I'm suggesting that the overall opening is such that it exposes those cars, if they're parked there, to anybody passing by, either in a vehicle or by foot or whatever. And I'm not sure what you can do. I made the comment, I think, yesterday that the 2 shrubs or bushes or whatever that are closest to the opening of the driveway almost appear in this image as being recessed a little bit, which would help perhaps screen my view as I'm coming from right to left. But I'm not sure that's the case. Are they all lined up in a row? There probably isn't an opportunity to curve them in, to plant them. They're all straight lines, huh?
They're all in a straight
Yeah.
line, correct?
Anyway, that's my concern there, and I'm not sure about. I'm sort of concerned that we're not getting the adequate screening that's required by the regulation.
Well,
Okay,
Madam Chair, if I may.
Nick again, and then Mary.
Yeah, she can, whoever's broadcasting here, can you zoom in on the line of landscape? Mr. Delia, so the Steed's holly, are they going to be manicured or let to grow into a hedge?
in talking to my landscape architect, the idea was to, create a hedge out of this so that we have full screening.
Okay, and that's redundant with they're behind the switchgrass?
Are you talking about this section right here?
That's the holly, and then in front of that, it looks like you've got switchgrass?
In front of this, we have.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I guess to address Mr. Lowe's comments, the driveway will be actually growing by a foot in both directions. It would seem actually that maybe just adding one more plant in both directions, just to really close up the gap, would actually help with to complete your screening.
Here and here.
And your property line, yeah, that's the property line there. So you can't go out beyond the wall. Okay, very good.
Correct.
Okay. And I would say actually, because of the location, as you had talked about, Mr. Delia, this is at the end of a street, with just people next door. I think
That's
actually as it comes together, this for me may work if you're going to accommodate widening, that kind of thing. Now, you said that there was a maple tree out there that's to be saved.
Right here. Yeah.
Where is it?
It's not shown on this plan.
Okay, we'll put that on the list of things to be shown, because that's actually
Yeah.
kind of a critical thing.
Yep. I will.
Especially if you've got pavers there. And I was out there. And for the life of me, I took pictures and cannot locate that tree whatsoever. I'm looking at kind of a lot of overgrown everything and some weeds. So do you know what is it in good health, that tree?
It seems to be in good health. It kind of has encroached and grown into the stone retaining wall that is there now.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah.
And you're going to try to save it even though it's in the wall. Okay, very good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mary, your hand popped down again, but it was up.
It was up, and actually Nick asked the
Ask your
question that I was
question.
going to ask.
Good.
Yeah,
The Vulcan
I
mind
think
meld.
the concern is very similar to what Mr. McRae referred to. The rendering looks like a very narrow driveway, and obviously it's going to have to widen, and we're always concerned that increases the visibility into each of the parking areas. So, the picture is very nice, but obviously, as Mr. McRae indicated, it's going to be wider than that, so there will be some greater visibility into the property. I'm really kind of concerned about the holly being used as screening, since it does not have, even if it grows into a hedge, it does not tend to have a great deal of height. And to the extent that the vehicles behind that holly are larger than a smaller size car, I'm not sure the screening is really adequate. So I have reservations about the quality of the screening, mainly because of the shortness of the holly and the potential widening of the driveway.
Okay. Anything else from anything else from the commission?
I'd like to comment on that.
Yeah.
My fellow commissioners' comments. So we have, because we have two applications that have a couple of strong similarities. I wasn't aware that this one was included putting in the holly shrub, the shamrock holly shrubs of the next application. There are I know, because I own them, there are hollies that can grow quite high.
Right.
And the one on the next application, the Shamrock hollies do not. They get to 4, maybe 5 feet max. But I did not, I'm remiss, and I did not look to see what exactly this variety of species is.
I have it in front of me.
Can you guys see my screen?
Okay, steeds. So this is, I don't know. I know Ilex crenata. I don't
Yeah.
know. What is steeds as a variation? I don't know.
It's like a Japanese holly, 6 to 8 feet. It can
It's
go
a-
to a 5 to 6 feet wide, but that's
Mature
Years
height
from now,
6
right.
to 8 feet.
So the 5 feet on the drawing is the width and not the height of that.
The 5 feet is what it would be purchased at, and then obviously it would grow from there.
Okay, and I'm sorry, what did you say the maximum was on that?
you can get to 6 to 8.
6 to 8. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay. Mr.
So
Lowe?
with that said,
Oh, sorry.
No,
Mr. Lowe,
that was all. I was just making the comment because I wasn't, it's easy for me to get confused from one application to another when there are these similarities. So, thank you.
thank you, Mr. Lowe. So just to recap this whole conversation regarding screening so that have clear direction on how to address this. Given the specified holly, its ability to grow to 6 to 8 feet, knowing that we're going to manicure this to a hedge, is what we're knowing that there's a retaining wall, a stone retaining wall that exists that's 5 feet higher that also provides screening. Is the commission more in line to, finding this design a favorable solution?
say it differently. We are not going to tell you what we're going to vote favorably on. So do we have issues with something as compared to what, Mr. DeLeo? We're not going to tell you how we're going to vote. It's illegal for us to say, oh yeah, we like this, we'll vote yes. So what is it that you're asking us?
Just to make sure that I'm fully understanding the board's.
So the way the regulations currently written, you have to have the screening, and there's a lot of emphasis on the commission's emphasizing that they really want to see that be robust, and they gave you suggestions on it.
Okay.
And then,
Noted.
so that's what, it's the way the regulation's written right now, which we are studying, by the way. So when we're ready to move forward with revising it, I'm sure all the development community will want to weigh in. Then the other request we have of you is to look again if there's any way you can reduce the regrade, get rid of the basement suite. And Nick was asking for the turning radius plan on the parking. Because I see his point, that you're tandem and you gotta widen that area, that apron, I think, or you're gonna bump into it, but you do it. I'm just like,
Understood.
okay, so, and that's, I think, all we've got. So let me just turn for public comment. Does anyone want to comment on this application at 3 Chinmoy? 3 Chinmoy. Please raise your virtual hand. Seeing no hands raised, we would ask to continue this. We have until the 20th of November. If Patrick can fit you on an agenda, which we now have all these postponements going on the next one, but hopefully if you can get revisions to us, we can take a decision.
Understood.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, members. Have a great night.
Before we move on, because I'm seeing a couple of people from our neighborhood, from my neighborhood, sorry, the Lachlan Park area, Sachem Lane, and all of that. I sent you guys all an email this afternoon. Toyota has postponed. And I'm seeing your names on the attendees. So Toyota has postponed. Mr. Holtz, Mr. Conway, Ruth, Not seeing anybody else right now, but all of you, if you're listening to me, please be advised that Toyota has postponed. I think maybe, no, I'm not. So anybody who's here for Toyota, we will let you know when they're next on. We only found out at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And we got out to you as soon as we could to let you know. We let the Lockland Park Association know. So it is postponed and I'll keep telling you. I'm not seeing anybody leave, but I'll keep telling you anyway. All right, so now we go on to our next application. Is that Mr. O'Connell? Yes, it is. Mr. O'Connell, anytime you're ready. I'm not getting him in. There he goes.
He's here.
Okay. Yeah, every now and then you click, nothing happens. And the video worked the whole time. And this morning, so the thing is, if I set it on the iPad, maybe. Hello, Mr. O'Connell. Our next application is JMCC2 LLC for a final site plan to demolish the existing two-family dwelling and to construct a new two-family dwelling with front yard parking and make associated site improvements on a 7,500 square foot property located at 2 Sales Street in the R6 zone. Mr. O'Connell.
I can be brief. I think that's everybody's preference. I observed the briefing and I think that if I understood correctly, we had a lot of positive comments as relates to high efficiency. We heard the commission and Mr. McRae's comments regarding the charger, and I think we can entertain making that an outdoor charger. That's a great thought. So we appreciated hearing that input.
It's just funny because just this afternoon I was in town hall and there was a guy waiting online in the building department, and guess what he was getting? A permit to put a charger in his garage. And I laugh because yeah, it's what everybody does. But Nick's right. The fire department doesn't like them indoors, but everybody puts them in. So what do you do? Because there's no building code prohibition of them.
Right. You know, what we just at the nature.
So we won't stop you because we can't. There's no building code prohibition. And it's not
I
zoning.
observed, people charging in their driveways. I thought that was good input. It was good to hear it. That's part of the process.
Yep.
And I heard a lot of positive comments on the content of our landscape plan. And I heard some concerns as it relates to screening. And then we also heard some concerns that we wanted some level of confidence that the site plan physically was functional. And so we have Tony DeAndrea from RVDI, and we have Rich Reagan standing by in case you'd like to hear any comments from them. We did submit site turning movements. Tony's used this approach to design, as well as Rich Reagan has used this approach to design in many projects in town. So it's sort of a tested and tried and true dimensionally.
Mm-hmm.
And can I answer any other questions, or are there any other?
I forgot when you're on the ZBA agenda for?
On Wednesday.
Okay, this week. Nick, yours were the questions about the
Yeah,
driveway and the
so
turning.
I saw the driveway.
Want to throw it up, someone, and do a share?
Kudos to the DeAndrea office. This is actually, this should be the standard for everybody. They're all
don't
there
tell,
on one
Don't tell
page.
them that.
Well, I think it should be standard for us because they're all there on one page, clearly demonstrating how people can get in and out without bumping into each other. So this is working. Understanding what's going on out there. There's really nothing on the site other than just the house. There's not even a tree. And Sales Street is it's a crossover between Bible and what's the other, the Coscob Avenue. So lightly traveled. So I think this would work. Mr. O'Donnell, actually, if Mr. Cece's around, it's maybe a question for him. The landscaping in the front, I guess, is the Shamrock Holly. And I'm just wondering if it's similar to what happened around the street. That project seemed to be successful. That landscaping's there. It's got the same kind of thing, green in the front. But is it the same as being proposed here? Because I think that may give us a sense of what's going to happen. That's not as mature yet as it probably could be, but we can get a sense of what's going on down the street than what's going to happen here as well. I also, the 10-foot wide easement in favor of Bible Street, as I see it on the street views and things, it's asphalt. Is that going to be all removed?
Okay. Okay, just making notes.
No, he's asking you a question though. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, that's great. Yeah, this is perfect. So
Answer
that hatched area right now, I think is asphalt almost up to the existing building.
Correct.
Okay, is that being all removed for planting, or we're going to stay as asphalt? What's the plan with that?
Correct. That's all going to be natural lawn area. And there's
Okay.
portions of it that are lawn area. That's how it's effectively used and been used over a long period of time. And so
Right.
that's the intent, that the family can exit the other house through what is their sort of de facto, most common door. Kids go out and take the bus, etc.
Okay, so this is that would actually leave leftover asphalt as a walkway or something?
Though there is one portion of it that we can look at a GIS map or any of the photos that I prepared, where you'll see that there's a brick walk that comes directly out of the door on that building adjacent that's on Bible Street. So that brick walk portion isn't anticipated to remain. We can update that on our landscape plan.
Mhm. Okay, because I think that's actually kind of trying to understand what's going on out there, understanding it. There's really nothing out there at all, like I said, other than this house.
Correct.
Okay. So that asphalt driveway where this easement is the driveway to the rear of three?
There's 2 is in front, the subject property, and then
2 is in front.
behind 2 is 4. And that was a subdivision in 1970-ish, which
Oh, no,
received,
no. Yeah, so that's actually, okay, there's a building behind this one.
right. And
And if you're looking at the house from the front, that driveway's on the left-hand side.
correct. So the
Great.
driveway to the right.
Yes, right-hand side, which is,
there's
as
one
I
to the
said,
right,
goes
there's
almost
one
all the
to
way
left.
up to the, almost up to the house.
Right, so the one to the right really served the rear house, and the one to the left really served this house. So although that the lot split was the inverse of that, that ended up being the longer term practical solution. And it was a lot of sharing because they're all friendly neighbors and family for a long period of time. So.
Okay, I'm confused, but it's
On
probably
our
my,
side, on our site, if you're looking at the.
Well, Nick, keep going till you got clarification, because if you're confused,
Right. So
okay,
now-
so actually, can anybody actually bring up the street view?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
that's it.
That might
That's
be,
this-
no,
but
no, the live street view that actually, we can actually scroll between the two driveways, because Mr. O'Donnell, just so I'm very clear, if I'm standing in front of the house,
so Patrick, if you could go to Google Earth.
I have a driveway that serves
I think that's
this
what it means.
residence, and that's actually on the left-hand side.
correct.
Okay, let me get to the development plan, and that is remaining, right?
That driveway will, it belongs to the, even though that the lot lines are not laid out that way. That
Okay.
driveway belongs to the rear property for 4 sales. And so that driveway will be one way or another converted for 4 sales use because they'll need a driveway.
Okay, great. Your parking is actually in the front yard, so we don't have to worry about the driveway to sales, for sales, which is in the back.
Correct, and that's not on, it's not on the subject property. So the
Right,
asphalt
okay.
driveway to the right of the residence, in my photographs, there's a little white car parked there. That driveway is going to be removed. And if you're looking at Google's,
Oh, perfect.
so if you're looking at Google Street View, you can see the kids standing outside sort of the front door at the edge of that easement area. Where
Great.
it's-
Oh, yeah, drop the little guy down there so we can spin it around. Gotta love technology. Okay, so
Oh my gosh,
In
I
this
love
view,
Google Earth more than anything, I think.
on the
sometimes.
left-hand side,
Just
that
sometimes.
actually is supposed to be serving the rear property, but really there's no connection to it. But that's gonna be restored for their access.
Correct,
On the right-hand side, there's a driveway that actually goes to the rear property, But whoops, nope, too far. Right there. That's going to be abandoned and be planted.
Correct. And you can see the two parties that are standing in the background of that photograph. They're standing right at the edge of the small brick walk. So that house is 5 feet off the property line. So they're sort of standing right at the termination of the easement area.
Okay, great. I have a dumb question then. If it's going to be abandoned and planted over, could you put some trees, et cetera, there as part of your
Oh,
landscape plan?
thank you.
We have, Nick, I think that's a great suggestion. And the way that we anticipating that suggestion and wanting to bring a high quality landscape plan, we've added substantial plantings. So we can't interrupt. That easement is for all purposes, essentially it's a pedestrian right of way. So the property owner doesn't have the right to do anything that would interrupt that pedestrian right of way. And it could be argued that planting a tree there could be. So we've concentrated the native plantings to be in places other, and we have an agreement with all parties that they're satisfied with grass there. Now, if someday the owner of that property wanted to convert that to a paved way, that would require them to come back to this commission and request that change.
Okay, got it.
So if
Then
this plan is
yeah,
approved,
I see it. Then I maybe the only suggestion I might have, understanding that fact, is that whatever's planted up against the building, maybe move it so it's against the easement. Because I think what it is trying to landscape that kind of open nothingness. If it just has to be long because it's pedestrian easement, maybe
Right.
maybe the edges can be planted.
okay.
Just
I
a
can make some
suggestion.
notes there. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much.
Mr. Lowe?
Yeah, Mr. O'Donnell, I believe you mentioned that you listened to our briefing yesterday, and I wonder if you could comment on the concerns we raised with regard to the adequacy of the screening for the front yard parking proposed.
Yes, I have 3 comments. First is I'm going to respond to Nick's first question, which was, how is this relating to the landscape plan that was approved down the street? And essentially, this is a substantially more robust plan. So if the other CC project has worked for you sort of as it's growing in, this is substantially more robust and all native planning. So we think this is responding to the commission's interest in both increased screening for front yard parking, as well as taking a really thoughtful approach to our landscape plans for this type of residential development. Secondly, your comments and your interest is in screening the parking. And I believe this landscape plan does screen the parking along with Tracy's comments, which were excellent, to indicate sort of the not necessarily an installed height, or to install at the height that we're proposing that we think provides adequate screening in that 3 to 5 foot range. The balance here is keeping this, as we look at this Google map, and you've looked at the photographs that I included, and Tracy generously included in her staff report, is we know the character of this neighborhood. And we know the character of any lot that's in the R6 and R7 zone. If your target lot is 75 by 100, and we're pretty close to that here, you have a 50-foot development envelope for the structure. And so front to rear, there's an expectation that there will be some form of front yard parking. And we can see that all through Coscob. My neighborhood in Glenville is R7. We Pemberwick prior to that. That is going to be a reality of design. So what we've tried to strike here, the balance is making this work for sightline. So when we're entering and exiting the property, that we have safe sight lines in keeping with not only the zoning regulation, but the DPW regulation. but also keeping the property engaged so that we're not creating sort of a walled garden and disconnecting the house, the private space from the street, which is the public space. We want that engagement. We know that there's going to be families here one way or another. We want that sense of community in the town and definitely in Cascade.
Okay,
Mr. Lowe, yes?
yeah, I guess that's all very well, but we're charged with following the regulations here. And the privilege, if you will, of creating parking in the front yard requires our approval that there is adequacy of screening. You mentioned, I believe, the phrase reality of design. I don't know what that has to do with what my concern is, but I'm concerned with the reality of the screening. And as I mentioned and suggested yesterday, I don't believe that putting in shamrock holly shrubs that are 3 to 4 feet, and maybe they grow to 5 feet. And as I mentioned, a regular sedan car is about 5 feet high. Introduce anything larger than that, an SUV or similar, and these will not, in my view, I don't see how they're going to provide necessary screening. So maybe you want to comment on that a little bit more in detail.
Absolutely. We have zoning regulations that limit the height of screening, and we have highway regulations and highway standards that limit the height of screening that's associated with driveways. And so those are going to be design realities that we're going to face both on-site and off-site. So our neighbors' driveways, as well as our own driveways, we have those limitations of 30 to 40 inches for screening. So I can propose to you 6-foot arborvitae on either side of the driveway, but I can't do that because the zoning regulations and the DPW regulations prohibit it. That would be true. So that's a design reality that I have to face. In addition to that, you have an exceptional staff. That was part of the conversation at the briefing yesterday, and I'm in total agreement. So I'm optimistic that I can work with your exceptional planning staff and we can come back with a landscape plan that will be acceptable to you.
But before you go there, Mr. O'Donnell, I would like to throw a gauntlet your way.
Yes.
As Patrick may have shared, or staff may have shared, we have been chewing on this regulation quietly. From a couple of different perspectives. We don't require screening for single family homes that have parking in the front yard. We definitely want parking to be provided on site for 2 families and really anybody else rather than congest the streets. And we're trying to figure out what would be a fair and equitable way to amend the regulations. For example, what would we say, should we completely eliminate the screening requirement, given that it doesn't exist for the singles? And is it creating complexity, even though we know that the 2 families are in denser neighborhoods, and there's a real benefit to having more screening and more green in the denser neighborhoods. So we've been kicking around these different considerations. You want green in Cascade and Byram and all the areas that have a fair amount of R6. On the other hand, how do you balance what you're asking between the 1 family and the 2 family? So if you have thoughts, and really to any practitioner listening to this, it's not just to Mr. O'Donnell, please share them with our staff, because we are talking about, we're not going to rewrite it next week, but we're talking about how we would work with this regulation to make it smoother, fairer, more equitable, etc. So just think about it and share any ideas you have with staff. We'd love to hear them. I'm going to go back to the commission now because there's 3 people with their hands up. Lowe, Jenkins, and then McRae. Go ahead.
That's really it. I would like to, I'm not thoroughly satisfied with the plan as presented. And so I remain concerned about it. And so I'll look forward to seeing whether there are amendments to that plan that could help me see how we're going to pass favorable judgment on the adequacy of screening.
Thank you, Peter.
Okay. All right. Ms. Jenkins?
Yes, and I apologize. There's a leaf blower right outside my window.
We
so,
can't hear it.
going to-
We can't hear it.
Okay,
Yep.
good. I can. I continue to be concerned about the fact that there's so little screening. And I understand the visibility, particularly with that much parking in the front yard. But, I'm being told there are no trees because it might be a problem in a pedestrian area, and we're going to keep the green area low in terms of screening. I think a little bit of generosity toward the generous landscaping on this rather than doing what is minimally allowed or minimally practicable, I think is an area where I'd like to see just a little more generosity. Thank you.
Mary, I'm struggling with that comment. This is one of the things that I asked for some leeway for from my client, which was to have an exceptional, not a high quality, but an exceptional landscape plan. And frankly, this is the most positive comments that I have ever gotten from conservation with regard to any landscape plan. And I have brought some beauties before this commission. We've done pollinator plantings. We've really, really worked that. So I'm really hoping that both you and Peter will both consider the totality of the landscape plan and the amount of trees that we've packed in a lot. The fact that we've cut exactly 0 trees down with this proposed development. There's no loss of any trees. We're adding 4 broadleaf trees and probably what do we have, 20 coniferous trees, and all of this is a native planting. So I wonder if you would just reconsider, and I am going to consider what you asked me and go back and work with staff and with Bill Rutherford to see if there's something more that we can bring you. We've added parking. We're adding 1 bedroom to an existing 2-family. There's essentially 2 parking spaces. We're bringing you up to 6. Massive amount of landscaping, no loss in trees, a high efficiency building. This is what we want. And by the way, these 2 families are taking some of that pressure off. They're providing some reasonably economically accessible housing in Greenwich, and that's what we need. So I am going to work and see if there's any more generosity that Bill can whip up, or if there's something specific, we'll talk to conservation to see if something more they'd like to see. I'm grateful for your comments, and again, I hope you'll reconsider in light of the improvements that we're making site-wide.
Mr. O'Donnell, you by mentioning affordability, you've gotten some brownie points with me because I also happen to be on the Affordable Housing Trust Board, and I know you haven't come to us with this, but we are sensitive to and supportive of the invisible affordable housing that we have, the non-countable. So thank you for your generosity with respect to my comments, and my mind is completely open on this. I appreciate your comments very much.
Thank you, Mary.
That's great comments, Mary. Thank you very much. Mr. McRae.
Staff, can you bring up the street view again? Because as I'm seeing this, we're going from 0 to 100 with this landscape plan. Because there is nothing out there. This site is denuded of any kind of a broadleaf tree. There's overgrown hedges against the building that are coming out. I would think if there's the landscape plan as presented, actually, there it is. I mean, there's nothing except those shrubs and this house. I think actually we're looking at, yes, the landscaping in the front for the parking. I think that's the thing, in my opinion, that really needs just to be looked at in terms of, is there something different that can be done between the Shamrock Holly, maybe the Steeds Holly, that kind of stuff, to give it some height for the screening issues. We've already talked about, the asphalt being removed, those kind of things, and really cleaning this up. But I think if Mr. Rutherford's going to take a look at that, I don't think a site distance is going to be an issue because you're relatively flat on Sale Street. You can see Bible Street right there when you're out beyond the property line in both directions. I think you can see down Sale Street to Costco. So I think height could be a good thing here. But like I said, it's 100% better than what we're seeing in front of us right now, which is nothing. It's an encroachment of asphalt all over the place, even from the street. So, anything would be better. And I think the landscape plan coming actually goes in that direction.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we'll see you when you come back from ZBA. Oh, wait, no, public comment. Okay. Does anybody from the public wish to speak on this application? It's 2 Sales Street in Costco, and this is called JMCC2 LLC at 2 Sales Street in Costco. This is application number 3. Anybody from the public? No, you're good. Okay, so Mr. O'Donnell, we will be continuing this. You have, we don't need an extension from you, and you will be back after you've been to the ZBA.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Maybe
sir.
there's room October 28th. You don't know. You just
We'll
give me
see.
another-
I was tempted to ask, but the commission would fire me if we might need an extra meeting because we've had so many
Such a
postponements.
comedian.
No objection. We're grateful to see you anytime.
Okay, bye-bye.
Thank you.
He's a comedian, right? Okie doke. So now we go to application number 7. We are leaping to application number 7. And again, I think everybody left, but anybody who was here for 21 Vista or anyone who was here for Toyota or for 1165 King Street, all of those are postponed. All right. 189 Sound Beach Avenue LLC for a final coastal site plan and special permit to demolish the existing structure and construct a new primary structure with commercial uses on the 1st and 2nd floor and with a proposed volume in excess of 40,000 cubic feet at 189 Sound Beach Avenue. The property is 0.135 and it is the LBR2 zone, but it is now also the Village District for Old Greenwich, the only one we have in town. And the applicant has worked, the architect has worked, has changed the design of this building and has been working with the ARC in regard to what the standards are for the Village District. So we will hear about that. And with that, Ms. Orsi, please proceed.
Madam Chair, sorry, Mr. Basili, this is the beginning of the public hearing.
Oh, yeah. And I have it with arrows all over it. Okay, Mr. Basili.
Did you
I
think did you think I didn't know that? Okay.
No, but aren't I
we've got
I
a lot
have
of
to announce
vacancies
it.
here, so yeah.
I have to announce it and I went right by it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Basili. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Orsi.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. For the record, Rachel Orsi from SC Minor on behalf of the applicant. We are here tonight seeking final coastal site plan and special permit approval for a new commercial building at 189 Sound Beach Avenue. With us tonight are Dinyar Wadia, who needs no introduction, and Stephen Gibson, our project manager, also from Wadia Associates. If they're in the audience, if they can be promoted as well.
Mr.
case
Wadia is in.
Oh, perfect. Okay. I might just
I
not be able
don't
to
know
see
about
them.
the other people. I'm not seeing them.
Stephen might be with Dinyar.
Fisher?
Gibson.
No.
Stephen Gibson. He might be with Wadia.
Okay.
All right. In summary, we are seeking approval to demolish the existing commercial building at 189 Sound Beach Avenue and construct a new commercial building in its place. The property is located in LBR2 and the Old Greenwich Village District Overlay Zone. Currently, both the property and the existing structure are non-conforming in several aspects. And with this application, we're proposing a redevelopment that will maintain or improve upon these nonconformities. Notable improvements include a reduction in floor area ratio, lot coverage, and improved setbacks, moving the property closer to zoning conformity. We're proposing modern upgrades to the site, including an ADA compliant parking space and accessible entry, along with energy efficient utilities and mechanical systems with the new building. And finally, a clean and harmonious architectural design that respects and complements the Old Greenwich Village District. As Madam Chair mentioned, we have gone before the Architectural Review Committee and received their positive endorsement. And this is a special permit, as you may recall, we also were here for a pre-application earlier this year. We have reviewed the staff report prepared by Bianca and as well as attended the briefing held yesterday. And at this time, we respectfully request the Commission's approval of this application and would be happy to answer any questions.
All righty. Any questions or comments from the commission? No. All right. What I would like everybody to do that we did yesterday is let's take a look at the original design and the evolution that it's at now. And then I just have a couple of comments for you. But first, I just wanted to share, the Old Greenwich people were aware of the meeting, but I'm not, because it was originally posted as so late, they're not in here yet. I don't know. Doom, 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 doom. Okay, I can share it, maybe, no. Okay, so in the meantime, while we're waiting for that, let's just go to the other stuff that we wanted to cover. We have some lack of comment areas. And that we would condition, if we were to move this forward, we would condition the application, we would condition any decision, which is that, did we ever get anything from sewer?
Yes, we did.
Okay, I didn't see it. Okay, we still had, and then fire, Nick?
Nothing from fire.
Okay, so that just leaves the fire, and the acknowledgement letter has been signed by the applicant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and I believe Bianca
And-
was going to route it.
Yep.
And
got it.
everybody was comfortable with the lighting, right, Patrick and Tracy? ARC as well as, yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
remembered from
mhm.
yesterday. Okay. In the meantime, any luck on finding the before and afters?
No.
Okay, well, let's just at least see the design now. so
Not
that
that I
we-
can't find. I'm trying to find the before. I can't find the
I'll
before.
find the
That's what
before,
I'm struggling
Tracy.
with.
Yeah, let's just show the
Let-
current proposal.
Show
then.
the current proposal, just so we have it, and everybody can see it. And then, I think it's worth looking at, the original Queen Anne.
If need to, I can bring up the before.
Oh, yeah, that would be very helpful.
Sure.
Because you have it in, I think it's
Sure,
way
Rachel,
back.
we'll let you drive.
Okay.
Okay, we'll let you drive. Just
Okay.
stop for all the stop signs.
Is everyone able to see my screen?
Yeah, so there's the before. And when we first saw this, the main comment we had on this application is that this was a beautiful design. And everybody thought Mr. Wadia had done a great job, but we asked about consistency with the Old Greenwich Sound Beach Avenue look and feel, and what was in the Old Greenwich guidelines for their streetscape. And particularly if you look at the architectural details, whether this was consistent with what is the rest there. Okay, let's go to what you're doing now. And then you're going to show it with that demolition you're doing as well. Then if you would be kind enough to show it with the demo, as well as what it's going to look like. I think everybody should see it. You wouldn't believe how many people we've lost with all the postponements.
So this was a a sketch or of the front of the building? And if there's a specific view or slide that is most helpful? This is the new current design that was approved with ARC.
Okay. And then can you show how it fits into the streetscape? You've got an image of that? There you go.
Yes.
So there's the existing, and I think this is a good illustration of, this is a good thing for applicants to give us, because it gives us a sense of how something fits into a street. So does the commission have any comments on this?
I think actually it's interesting how from the last one to this one, just some minor changes made it, and it's mostly the front facade, makes it work really well. Because the side elevation, rear elevation, back elevation are generally the same, except for maybe the window divisions. And then the front basically just gets rid of the bay window in the front, and just evens it all out, so it's more storefront like or commercial like. Very simple solutions.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have from the public? I'm just going to turn to the public now. Does anybody in the public have any questions or comments on this Old Greenwich proposal? All righty. Anything further from the commission? Okay. This is very quiet. Does anybody object to closing this application at this time?
No.
All right. And what we saw it as before was a pre-app. So no objection to closing this application. This application is hereby closed. Bye, Ms. Orsi. Goodbye, Mr. Wadia.
Go ahead.
Thank you for considering our application. We really appreciate it.
They don't all know you, but I remember you when you used to come a lot.
I do remember.
Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.
All righty. So now we turn to staff for proposed zoning text amendments. And our first one, and this is item 11, is to add a new section in our zoning regulations on smoke shops. And Patrick will describe that, and he will tell you about the process. But this approach is this came from residents and neighbors who asked us to do this. And this is our great pleasure to go to neighborhood associations, to go to meetings, to hear what people would like to see in the evolution of the town, and to try to be responsive to it, because that's what the POCD seeks, is that we maintain the community as our residents want. So we were pleased to try to be responsive to the community, and let's see how it goes. So with that, Mr. Town Planner, I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As already explained, this is a text amendment to add language to our regulation book regarding smoke shops. In short, the key features are that it defines what a smoke shop business is and adds that definition of the regulation. It also adds it to a use group, which then determines which business zones these types of uses would go or are permitted. And it also has some prescriptive distance requirements that are 1,000 feet from similar smoke shop existing and proposed businesses, and 3,000 feet from public schools, religious institutions, and hospitals. That measurement, if anyone's interested, is from the property lines of the establishment and as the crow flies. So that's how the execution would be. The rationale behind this, as we mentioned, is we had conversations with residents and also understanding what has happened in New York State in particular that has maybe increased the number of these businesses or the likelihood of these businesses looking to open up shop in town, and the concern of having a accumulation or a intensity or overpopulation of these in one particular commercial district is troubling. Not only because of what they sell, but also that they tend to be nuisance businesses with signage that doesn't comply, and they create a lot of additional work, and they're not generally an attractive business for the districts that they're in. So New York State, if anyone's interested, in 2025, they've upped their restrictions on tobacco and nicotine related products, particularly what is referred to as an END or ENDS, which is a nicotine delivery system. New York State does not allow the sale of flavored ENDs anymore. And they've also increased their sales tax again on nicotine and tobacco products. So I think the combination of those things and the fact that there's not a reciprocal or equal regulation or law in Connecticut could possibly create a situation where more of these businesses want to open, particularly on the west side of town with their close proximity to New York State. So with that, I will leave it to the commission for comments and then the public if you want to go there.
Actually, okay, so I also wanted to go over all the input we've gotten from the public, but Mr. Yeski, shoot.
Yeah, I wasn't able to stay on. I had to go back to work yesterday. If we pass this, Patrick,
yep.
How many non-conformities are we creating, particularly in Byram?
Well, there would be in Byram in particular, there would be a few that are closer than these distances. In other,
how many?
3. There are 3 right now. Thank you, Nick.
So all 3 would be non-conforming.
Correct.
Okay. I got it. That's it.
Okay, and anybody else have questions? So before, we did get some public comment, and I know one of the people who sent us comment is in the audience, but is in the attendees, but I'm not sure everybody is. So do you guys want to review what the comment was, and so we can air it and take it into consideration? Patrick Tracy?
You're asking me if we want to discuss their comments or let them
Yeah.
talk? Sorry.
Well, I know, for example, Mr. Shahadi sent in comments, but I don't know if there were 2 other people who commented. I don't know if they are here.
Yes, I'm not sure I know about I know.
Okay, let's do this.
Right,
Let's
yeah.
get public comment, and if we're missing anything from what we hear, let's go ahead and just go through the letters we got and make sure we've got everything. So Mr. Hegney has raised his hand first.
Correct.
Mr. Hegney, your applications have all been postponed. All right, okay. All right, so Mr. Hegney and Mr. Shahadi have their hands up. Mr. Hegney, go ahead. He's rejoining. All right, Mr. Hegney. And then Mr. Shahadi, you're next. So I'm
going good evening, Madam Chair, members of the Commission. For the record, Tom Hegney on behalf of the Tobacconist of Greenwich. We submitted a letter to the town planner and a proposed amendment to the proposed regulation, which would exempt particular types of shops, mainly those that are selling exclusively premium cigars. And the basis for that is that we're not selling something that sells for $1. These are expensive cigars. They're not selling anything else. They're not selling cigarettes. They're not selling vaping. They're selling handmade cigars that are, along with humidors and carrying cases for this very expensive product. And there was a federal district court case in 2023 that said there are certain ways of defining these. And so we have included those as examples of what could be included in this regulation when you vote to adopt it, so that it is not it is not subject to the distance requirements of what you're looking to prevent, which I certainly understand it. Talk to Pat about it. What we're looking to do is make sure that this doesn't apply to premium cigar stores, which is really just a retail store.
I think that as we discussed it yesterday, nobody raised any questions regarding that concept. And Patrick, were you comfortable that you could word it, that the wording would be successful based on what Mr. Hegney has brought to our attention? You're muted.
Yes, I think the method that Mr. Hegney is suggesting is one that can be integrated into the regulation. I'd ask the commission to sort of direct us if they want to take the words as he's proposed, or if there's some variation, we can put that together quickly.
Okay. Mr. Lowe and Mr. McRae.
Yeah, I haven't really given this much thought. I wonder if by carving out this exception, if you will, does this open the door to other requests to isolate or segment an activity that we're in one sense we're bundling, both in terms of products and how you know how they're marketed or how they're merchandised. So I don't know. I haven't given a lot of thought, but will this open the door to other requests for exceptions on the basis of
Patrick's point? Patrick, if you want to talk about how the ATF looks at it, at cigars.
So I was not aware of the federal decision from 2023, but having received that, it seems to be clear that the federal the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, does not see these types of product as similar to vaping or the nicotine delivery services, which have additives, flavoring, and marketing, I guess, which is not in this discussion, but I think it's something that we should all be aware of, to a certain segment of population. And so it's clear from this that there is not an intent to lump them in with some of those devices. And quite frankly, that these type of establishments now, the cigar stores are not on our radar as being a problematic tenant in any way. I think that there are far less of them than there are the type of establishments that sell nicotine and cigarette products and the delivery devices. So it is. I think it's a reasonable ask, and I'm not sure that there would have to be other decisions made by the federal government or the state that would sort of invite us to changing that or redefining those definitions.
Mary?
Yes, Mr. Hegney, I'm going to ask an obvious question. I assume that cigar stores do not sell to minors.
That's correct.
Thank you. Just confirming that.
All right. So if it's Nick, go ahead.
I was concerned about this issue. Cigar is a tobacco product.
Correct.
No matter how you look at it, it is what it is. Looking at what Mr. Hegney is proposing, businesses that primarily engage in the sale of, there is a specific from the federal government I would suggest always looking at trying to close any kind of a loophole that we could create inadvertently. That instead of primarily, maybe the word is solely engage. Specifically, that way when we see we're selling just cigars in this particular retail establishment, we don't sell anything else other than cigars. And then reference in the regulation, the federal government's specifics. That way it ties it back to something very, very specific. That way there's no way that somebody could actually have a vape shop in the front and selling, you know, premium cigars in the back and saying they're a tobacconist. You know what I mean?
Mr. Hegney's going to have to check this with his client, because even though he's nodding agreeably, most cigar stores also sell, high-end cigar stores also sell high-end cigarettes, things like Dunhills or whatever. So that it's worth double checking with your client. We're going to have to revise the wording anyway, because these aren't Scribner's changes that we're making. We're going to have to do another public hearing anyway, Mr. Hegney.
There's the kind of the rub is, you know, in all, you know, respect to the tobacco sellers,
right,
the cigar sellers.
Yep.
It says 20%. 20%, you know, that's 20% of just cigarettes in a place that sells cigars could be a pretty good big deal. So I think it's actually very important to understand. I sell cigars. That's what my primary thing is. Let's actually make sure that we protect that, and at the same time making sure that actually saying, well, we sell cigars too, but we sell all this other stuff. You know,
so it's got to be
cigars
has to be. I think the wording is that cigars is the primary business, which is I don't have it open right now, but I remember isn't that how you worded it, Mr. Hegney?
He says primarily, and I'm thinking solely engaged, because I think it
can't be solely, because this is the snag. The cigar stores sell storage boxes,
right,
for the
humidors
cigars,
and
they sell
ashtrays.
humidors.
Yep.
Not that I ever lived with a cigar smoker, of course. They sell humidors, they sell storage, they sell lighters, they sell the clippers. There's a whole bunch of paraphernalia that goes with this.
They're not tobacco products, and the vape shops, et cetera, sell the same kind of paraphernalia for vaping, et cetera, et cetera.
It's how you word it. But these are accessories to cigar smoking. So you're fine there, because it's primarily cigars or accessories to cigars, for cigars.
I have no issues with the accessories, because the accessories happen in the other.
So you're
things.
good.
Let's talk
so
about
now the only other thing is,
and I'm not worried about the cigar sellers as much as the loophole that we might be creating here.
So
I want to make sure we close that, because.
So Mr. Hegney, just double check what your client or clients do, and make sure that we're still enabling, that we're not hurting their business, and we're enabling their business while still accommodating as much as we can the concern that Mr. McRae is raising.
That's fine, Madam Chair.
And just tell
Happy to do that.
staff before this comes back, so we can get the wording right, so that the wording that comes back says primarily cigars and associated accessories. And then something else that precludes, and you know what
I think it's actually, he goes on to defined as so on and so forth. I think the defined as per whatever the FDA regulation is, because then it actually specifically states, I'm looking at a very, very expensive cigar as opposed to a pack of 6 with little plastic tips to it.
Yeah. Okay. So yes, something. Okay. Panatellas, I think. Mr. LaRoe.
Might a solution be to say that a premium cigar shop is not in combination with a smoke shop, and then that will maybe limit the concern?
Whatever you think works.
That could be a solution. Thank you.
Whatever you think works. If that works, it's good.
Okay.
Okay.
Do we have a definition of quote smoke shop?
We
It's
did.
in there, yeah.
It's what
We're
we've
creating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So we would essentially say that a premium cigar shop does not engage in smoke shop merchandising. You know, that the nicotine ends and the cigarettes and pouches and those things.
While we're talking about that, don't shoot me, does 6.5 have to be amended as well?
Well, it depends on if we want to add it to this definition of smoke shop or have a
No,
separate.
just in general, is smoke shop going to be a line in 6.5?
It will be, well,
Because you don't
Yes.
have an amendment to you have an amendment to 6.195, but not to 6.5 here.
no, we have it. It's in
Yeah.
the first section.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I missed it then. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry.
Okay. Mr. Lowe?
Do these cigar stores sell pipes or pipe tobacco?
I don't remember. Mr. Hegney,
I-
check that.
I'll share a conversation I had with one of the operators. There is a small contingency of people who may still buy loose tobacco and those things, but it is out of fad and it is very limited. And I believe that they indicated that if that was something that was going to be problematic, that they could easily stop, selling those or carrying those items because it's not a what do you want to call it? It's not a market driver.
Or a profit center?
Profit center, right? There you go.
All right, Ms.
Well,
Kulikowski.
I just think the more products we can think of, we ought to do a little check to make sure that we've got our bases covered.
Because we don't want to hurt businesses that aren't an issue, right? Where you're
Correct.
going? Okay. Ms. Kulikowski?
Hi, good evening. All of the notice for this text amendment included an amendment to 6.5.
Yeah, that's what Patrick said. I just,
Yeah, no,
Okay.
it's in all the legal notices and
Okay.
yeah, we're good.
all right. Okay, anything else? All right, so Mr. Hegney, we're going to try to work with it. If you would just give staff feedback so we know how to word it and it can come back ready to rock and roll.
That sounds great. Thank you, Madam
Okay.
Chair.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to comment on this amendment, kindly raise your virtual hand. Mr. Shahadi, you're up next.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Al Shahadi. You know me pretty well. I'm a longtime Byram resident. I'm an officer of the BNA. My remarks tonight, as well as the letter that was submitted on Monday, are on behalf of the BNA. First thing is a generous round of applause to thank you for listening to our concerns, for meeting with us, for attending one of our public meetings this year, and for drafting proposed regulations. This is a real issue for Byram. We've had a long-standing problem with smoke shops. What Patrick was describing, I will call regulatory arbitrage. That we have had for a long time, smoke shops that cater, advertise, clearly are marketing to New York State residents, and they are as close as you can be to the border without being in New York State. Right now, we have 3 shops within roughly a 2-block proximity of each other. 2 longstanding, what I'll call typical smoke shops, but more recently a quote-unquote vapor lounge opened on North Water Street about 2 blocks away from the other 2.
Sorry, didn't mean to be judgmental.
We'll add one small item to the conversation you just had about cigars. I walked into all 3 establishments. I tried to get into the vapor lounge, but I couldn't this weekend. The 2 smoke shops do sell premium cigars. So I would encourage the Commission's gut to make sure that is worded as completely, as narrowly as possible so that you don't end up having a handful of premium cigars in the front room and some other stuff in the back room.
Got it.
Our community concerns, and Patrick, you did a very nice job of summarizing this, in the BNA, after parking and traffic, smoke shops is the issue we get our ears bent about the most. It's a neighborhood disamenity. So parents that live on North Water Street and walk their kids to New Lebanon have the pleasure of walking their 8-year-old past all 3 of those shops and having to field questions about what's that stuff in the window, Mom?
Oh boy.
More importantly, and something that hasn't been discussed here that I intentionally included in my letter, is the extent to which the smoke shops, at least, repeatedly cross what is a very clear line between legal and illegal items for sale. The biggest item the past few years has been THC. 2 years in a row, a combination of Greenwich police officers and state inspectors busted one or both of the smoke shops at the corner of Mill and South Water for selling illegal THC products. And just in case there's any confusion, we're not talking about a few misplaced gummies on the counter that maybe fell out of some customer's pocket. The last raid, there were close to 30 pounds of THC products included. So these are not establishments that accidentally failed to comply with some minor regulatory requirement. They have been flouting the law. Comments on the regulations, the proposed regulations, great start. I think you do need to go a little bit further. The main concern that we have is the open-ended grandfathering of existing businesses. And I get why you want to grandfather a business, but I think it is too narrow to only limit the end of grandfathering to expansion or relocation. It essentially leaves an untenable situation Byram in place for potentially a very long time.
The sad thing is it's compliant with state law. We have no choice. So the sad thing is, and this is a killer for us at every meeting, there's always someone. In 2017, the state passed a statute which it said that people who had non-conforming uses had to be allowed to continue them. And it killed us because, oddly enough, zoning boards are supposed to reduce nonconformities. It's what we're tasked with doing. And when you go to training, when you're a baby commissioner, they teach you that you're supposed to reduce nonconformities. And suddenly the state there was a lobby for this. The state passed this law that we couldn't reduce nonconformities. So we saw your point and talked about it yesterday. And one of the things we wonder, can we make the going forward narrower? That's a possibility, but we cannot eliminate the businesses that are there now unless they are actually illegal, and they're not. And they're not illegal. All these products are legal. The THC thing, they got rated, but all the other products are legal. And so we wondered whether we should change the zoning, the zones in which these stores are allowed. But again, that only helps you in the future. We were trying to narrow where they can go in the future. And that's a pretty good thing. You've made some other good changes. I'm very grateful for where we just have any hospital, you widened it to healthcare institutions. That really helped. And also that you added childcare facilities. Where we have schools, you added childcare facilities. There is no way we can eliminate we would love to. We would like to tell people, oh, you tore this down, you vacated it. So we're struggling with that. And the vape issue is similar. These are legal products. So how do we change that? And what we talked about yesterday, it's almost the congregating on the sidewalks is a conversation with Chief Heavey, with the police department, because that's the only way we could think of further strengthening the controls, as we were talking yesterday. Now, two hands are up now. They're both looking very thoughtful, so I'm going to let them address your comments. Go ahead, Mr. McRae, and then feel free, Mr. Shahade.
I throw in a couple more things. So
yeah, we'll come back to you, but
yeah, sure.
You raised these two things and we talked a lot about them yesterday. So Mr. McRae and then Mr. Lowe.
Mr. Shahade, I'm in the same boat with you. I think actually these violations over and over and over again. I think it's as the chair said, it's a Greenwich Police Department thing, but I also would think actually it's the State Consumer Protection Agency as well. It would seem to me a retail establishment that completely violates the law over and over again needs to be really looked at. And I think that's maybe one of the things that the BNA can actually start and spearhead is actually getting to the state and say, you know, this happens over and over again. Why can't this stop? One of the other thing.
And your state rep, great point from Mr. McRae. One of the things to do is to talk to your state legislators about it and the concerns that we have. We also wondered if we should have a joint meeting, potentially. You should have a joint meeting because it's out of our hands. with Chief Heavey and with the legislators and anybody else to see how you could address the broader issues. Go ahead, Mr. McRae, sorry.
Right. So, Mr. Shahadi, as you had kind of mentioned here, the cat's out of the bag. There's 3 there already, and how do we deal with the 3 that are there? I don't know if this is any consolation. I did actually do a quick sketch in terms of actually the distances we're talking about, just from the boundaries of New Dublin School. 3,000 feet in any direction basically encompasses most of Byram. If you actually add in the church, it basically almost gets up to Pemberwick. 1,000 feet in most any direction from the corner of South Water Street, North Water Street, and Delavan, that corner gets you halfway up the street or halfway down South Water and past the tracks on North Water. So, those distances actually start, work really well. And I think it's actually, yes, understanding how the regulations work now, it kind of precludes already any new establishments. But at the same time, we have to get, if we're looking at issues with the old ones, it's kind of out of our hands. We have back to consumer protection is probably the best bet. So I think actually understanding, well, I don't think we're going to be getting any new if we do this. And it's just, as you say, getting rid of the old, figuring out how to do that.
And and the thing is to talk to the legislators and as well and see if we could do something about the legality of vaping and things like that. I think that any of them would be happy to help. I think Ryan Fazio would be happy to help, and yours is Steve Meskers, right?
Steve, yeah.
So and we're happy to help with that outreach. Mr. Lowe.
Yeah, if I'm the proprietor of one of these places and I suddenly my landlord jacks up the rent, I can't afford it anymore. Does this ability to run one of these shops, so-called run with the land, does the next person coming in?
That's the problem.
Yeah. So
you have to you have to stand on top of a mountain and swear that you're abandoning the use entirely. And that was what the state law did. They made it very difficult to end. This is what we argue with applicants all the time, because yes, you're exactly right, Mr. Lowe.
To Nick's point, I was going to ask, what is the potential for expanding, the school zone, the health provider zone, the church zone, or whatever? But we're doing that. It just can't. It still won't touch the existing offenders.
Patrick?
I think it would help the commission, and I apologize that I didn't provide that beforehand. Getting a map of what these distances look like from the known establishments and those facilities that we listed. To Mr. McRae's point, I think they're not insignificant when you map them out, and it may it just may give comfort that
But it still doesn't allow you to force the abandonment of a nonconformity.
I would say in a hypothetical situation, if one of these establishments was increasing their area of sale, either in the display or in the square footage, that would be something that we would be able to stop, because it would not be in accordance with the language we have now, assuming we approved it.
It's increasing a nonconformity. A use nonconformity, yeah.
No, but it would technically be, if they're expanding the square footage, but if they're just offering more products in the existing, we can't do anything about it.
The growing elephant.
Yeah. Again, you'd have to read the definition of smoke shop, where it says that 20% or more of the gross floor area or sales display area is used for those products. So when you have those measurements and those measurements get larger or they exceed 20%, that would not be something that I think the regulations would support.
So we can, the vape shops can be, let's go back to this. So vape shops can have the distance restrictions.
Well,
go ahead.
Thing is vape is in there. Vaporizers is in the smoke shop definition. So I don't see them as not being regulated by this.
So in that, Mr. Shahadi, where you say for vape shops also include them, if you go back and you look at how they word, Patrick, I don't have the regulation open. Read the sentence where you talk about the products and I had to look it up.
Sure. So a smoke shop shall mean any retail establishment in which 20% or more of the gross floor area or sales display area is used for the display, sale, or distribution of tobacco products, nicotine products, including but not limited to e-cigarettes, electronic nicotine delivery systems, which is ENDS, it's an acronym, nicotine pouches or vaporizers. And then it goes on to say smoking paraphernalia, smoking accessories, or any combination thereof. So it is the device and the product that is amalgamated or would count in this definition. It's not separated out.
So a couple of thoughts in
Go ahead.
response to that very thoughtful discussion. In no particular order, the added language that I added about healthcare and other things actually came straight from the state legislation on vape-free areas. So I'd love to be able to claim that those were original, but those are actually language from the state where they say healthcare institution and then list those.
That's okay. You can have the credit. We're generous with that stuff.
It would be interesting to get an opinion from, I don't think town council is the appropriate, but to find out, and I don't remember exact words, Madam Chair, about whether there's something illegal going on. Is selling illegal products, like, is there some way where if they're selling legal tobacco products, we're stuck? And that's just it until they move, die, whatever, relocate. But if they are caught again selling an illegal product, is there a way around, in the terms of the specific institution, specific establishment, where you're not affecting nonconformities generally, you're going after a nonconformity that is also
illegal.
breaking the law?
If you're illegal, you're totally good. What we've done in the past is often zoning gets a report from someone who says, I walked into such and such a place and this was happening. We call up Chief Heavey and we say, Chief, we've been told this about such and such a location. And the chief sends undercover people. Once he's got it, he nails it, and he's very responsive. So all that, I mean, and Patrick's done it, Katie did it. He just lets the chief know when we've gotten a complaint about something that's going on at any location that seems illegal to residents. And in fact, I went to him recently because I didn't know you were allowed to sell THC beverages in liquor stores. Turns out you are. But I went and reported someone and he's like, no margarita. So Chief Heavey will be all over it. And we have sent him addresses and he has looked into it and sent undercover people. So that's your answer to that. Then once you've got an illegal activity, then it gets into the process of law enforcement.
But does that end the grandfathering?
Say, Mr.
Grandfathering of non-conformity.
If there's
No.
licenses involved and they are unable to continue to sell the product and they move out and another business moves in that doesn't sell that product, I would say that ends it.
Well, that would get to the abandonment part of it.
Yeah.
If somebody else, but the question still remains, can the next guy waiting in line to open up one of these shops just jump right in and go on about his merry way?
I would not use the word jump right in because my understanding is that there is licensing that needs to happen, and I'm sure that doesn't happen very quickly. But you would have to have a license to operate these establishments to sell those products, and if that license doesn't exist, then the business should not be existing at that point in time either.
Is it is it possible to put in not just relocation or expansion, but change of ownership? Is ending the grandfathering?
So the use runs with the land is the general concept for zoning. And I I fully appreciate the idea that you're putting forth, because I
We've tried. That's what I mean, we used to do that. Somebody bought a horrible property that was fully non-conforming, and they took down the building, and it was new owner, and they demolished the building. And in the olden days, you had a chance at getting rid of the non-conformity. 2017, that went away. And I mean, the attorneys come in and they specifically cite the language.
So last comment I have is the concern of on-site vape use. The vapor lounge that I'm referring to, and I'm intentionally not naming any of these institutions, it is a black cloth storefront that you cannot see into. The website intentionally references proximity to the New York State border and the differences in regulation. And separate and apart from the whole smoke shop issue, one of the things that we want to see is more glass, more storefronts, more retail activity, et cetera. And this is clearly unattractive from a general retail neighborhood kind of perspective, but also raise the question of what exactly is going on behind.
We got the same. We worry about the yoga places with that too, but sorry, they close their curtains too. But yeah, again, that's a Chief Heavey issue in many ways. If they're closing a curtain and they don't have a storefront, Patrick can enforce that part. But if there's something going illegal behind, Patrick can go, God, I shouldn't be quoting you. The zoning enforcement officer can go, you better with that, right? The zoning enforcement officer can investigate, because you are required to have the storefronts. And in fact, there's a yoga place that keeps closing the curtain and we keep telling them to open it. So that we can do. Great. Because that's regulations. But if it's illegal, back to Heavey. But again, I think it needs a group of people.
So I'll just say, I'm not going to say that there has or has not been a discussion with zoning enforcement about that issue that you're mentioning. But what I will say is, if the regulations, it would appear that covering your windows would not be in accordance with the signage regulation. So that's the first issue that I noted when this item came up a few weeks ago as being established. There's also so like tobacco bars or smoking parlors, I am still trying to understand if that is a permitted use in the state of Connecticut. And I am asking people, but I don't have an answer as I sit here right now. And so there is a question about whether or not that type of establishment is even legal. And if it's legal, does it have all the things that it needs, like insurances and vape, ventilation and all the things to do the indoor smoking? Because that, again, I haven't found.
I have an answer for you.
What's that?
We just asked our state legislators to get an OLR on it, an Office of Legislative Research.
Well, I can find the OLRs. It's whether or not.
No, we get one specifically for the questions you have. Ryan Fazio or anybody can get them. It's easier for a senator to get it. He just asked, you tell him exactly what you want the OLR to be. And right now, before this session starts, Ryan asked for an OLR specifically on what your questions are. Right. And he may be able to get it. I mean, it's the only way to do it, because how many times have we wondered whether something's legal?
Yeah, and again, so my point is, I'm not quite sure how vape lounges work and how they're permitted from a health, either Department of Health or Department of Consumer Affairs.
That's Patrick, you've nailed it on the head, our question, where there's a clear, and I know alcohol is regulated in a very different way, but there is a clear difference between a retail establishment, the corner liquor store where you walk in, you buy a bottle, but you can't drink it there, and the bar catty corner across the street where you go in, you say a few words to the bartender, you order a beer or a wine or a scotch or whatever, and you drink it in there. And is there the possibility to create, through zoning, a similar kind of distinction between sale and on-site consumption?
Yeah, and I would say, as I sit here right now, I am not sure indoor consumption is a permitted use. So that I think getting the answer to that is I think most important, and then we can figure out how we address it in Greenwich, right?
So I just want to thank everybody here for taking this seriously, for listening to us. This is, just a
Before you
phenomenally thoughtful-
go, Mr. Lowe's had his hand for a while.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
I
no,
don't see
that's fine. In fact, I think Mr. Shoddy had a reference to a kind of three strikes, you're out kind of a suggestion in his letter. Maybe I read that someplace else, but I'm going to credit you with it anyway.
Okay.
And the whole thing is that, it's a very tricky issue. It goes well beyond, but becoming moral police, if you will, because and impinging upon an individual's freedom of choice. But that does not address the potential harm to younger people. One of the great success stories in this country was the tobacco story, but it took us years and years and years and years and years. But it was largely successful, and this is like we're in a pioneering state with some of these products. So it's well worth keeping your eye on, well worth hammering away at suggestions, contacting your local legislative representatives. Just keep making noise about it. Eventually we'll get it sorted out. Unfortunately, it won't be tomorrow.
But I'm very sure that our state representatives will help with this.
Thank you for your work so far. Thank you for a very thoughtful discussion. And I will thank you in advance for your offer to join us in appealing to the state legislatures to see if there's some way they can narrow some of the things that tie your hands.
So just if you want to write them and copy, us.
Yep.
If you copy Patrick, he'll distribute it to us. We're happy to help. And you tell us, from what I can tell, a senator has more resources available to him. So Ryan may be able to do more, but Steve is always willing to jump on board and be helpful. So, either one of them.
Yep. Great.
All right. Thank you
all
very much.
Take care.
So we're going to leave this open, you guys.
Yeah.
While
gonna
we revise it.
Yep.
Mr. Hegney will give some input. We'll take Mr. Shahadi's broadening of the language. I think for now, we kind of figured we wouldn't change the zones, but that at someday in the future, we could just not allow certain retail uses in some zones, like we do ground floor banks in, or fitness centers and stuff like that. So we could think about that in the future, but I think for now it's a good start.
Yeah, those are my notes to enhance those sections as well. So I will do that. I will also, unless somebody does not want to see that, I will try to provide some mapping to give.
Yeah, that'd be great. Because Nick did it himself. Good for him. Yeah. But, yeah, that'd be great.
Sheepishly, I think we have it. For some reason it slipped my mind, but we'll definitely share it with you.
Okay. So with that, we go to the next thing, which is another text amendment. And this is at item number 12, another text amendment to amend section 6109, historic overlay zone in the town's building zone regulations to clarify the purpose and intent of the historic overlay zone and clarify the standards and procedures. This started with a question that we were chewing on, and yesterday in our discussion, it wasn't clear that we were totally there, but let's give it a shot. Go ahead, Mr. LaRoe, or Ms. Kulikowski. I don't know which one of you is going to talk about it.
I'm going to hand this to Tracy.
Yeah.
Against her problem.
I remembered she had done a lot of work on it. So go ahead, ma'am.
Good evening. I can certainly start unless Mr. Lowe wants to give an overview first. I will cede the floor to him, but I can also certainly start whatever he prefers.
Mr. Lowe is looking forward to your overview.
Okay. Got it.
I thought she just mumbled LaRoe into Lowe.
It doesn't matter.
I might have. It's highly possible. That's why I also can't put PL in my notes.
Right. I was going to say the initials are the same.
Yep. Can't do it. So you're just Low in my notes. Anyway.
And in Margarita's mind.
With an E, Low with an E.
Thank you.
The amendment of this regulation started in discussion with this commission back in the spring of this year. We have gone through several different several versions. I believe we're now on version 8. Again, the bold language is new language. The existing language may be in a different place, but if it's just in a different place, we didn't note it in any way, and anything proposed to be eliminated is strike through. The section that we've spent the most time on is the purpose section, to strengthen the clarity of the purpose, to clearly state that this is an incentive-based regulation to encourage preservation and protection. We can get into the discussion about whether we include the word restoration later. Added a sentence about the scope of the historic overlay, that it's not just the buildings, but it's the attached natural features, open spaces, landscaping, and then, as we discussed yesterday, other hardscapes. And we've also proposing to restructure the regulations such that we have a clear purpose, then we have clear conditions and standards, followed by the procedural elements, followed by the incentives that the commission wishes to provide to those property owners who wish to engage in the two-part process of, one, rezoning their property to a historic overlay zone, and then obtaining a site plan and special permit for any proposed changes or improvements to the property, which then also includes a declaration of restrictions to preserve those historic features with which were used to grant or to justify the granting of the historic overlay zone, and then those declarations are recorded on the land records. I don't know if you want to go through section by section or how you want to proceed. It is a 6-page regulation. We've made changes to most of the sections, some small, some big. So I don't know in how much detail you wish to proceed through that. We've also received comments from the HDC. We've received a number of comments from the former Planning and Zoning Director Diane Fox, who is now very actively involved with the Greenwich Preservation Network. I don't know if she's here to speak on her behalf or not.
Yes, she is.
Okay, so I don't want to step on anything that she wants to say.
No thunder stealing.
No thunder stealing.
What I would suggest is Lo has his hand up, that's with an E. And then we did cover some of the edits that we would be interested in seeing yesterday. So rather than get into a lot of detail now, maybe take input from just generally what the commission has on its mind, and then hear from the public, and then try to pull it together in a work session, which I was hoping we could do next Monday, but maybe we could do sometime.
You have some other things on your calendar next Monday, but
yes,
we could add
so
this if you really want.
Yeah, we could join them I think we could just have an exec session, and then we could just have a quick work section just on this to get, if that works for you guys. So everybody has a chance to listen to the public comment, listen to Lo, listen to anybody else. And then we just get together for an hour and pull it all together. Mr. Lo, go.
Yeah, all I was going to say is in support of your suggestion, I have some, individual, and I referred to some of them as nitpicking, but they're largely cosmetic. And I'm not going to waste everyone's time to go through them and have a long discussion. None of them I regard as, in any way provocative or evocative. So I'd like to take that time, and I can meet with or speak with Tracy on these.
That would make it more effective.
Right, and efficient. So that's what I'd like to do, and we'll get the input from everybody else, and then put the baby to bed later.
Okay. And what I will do for the work session then is any additional changes beyond, so what will become version 9 will have an additional color so you can see what we're
And it
adding
doesn't
right now.
have to be next Monday. It's whatever works, when we've got, when everybody's got agreement. Yeah, but we've got some consensus. Okay, so Nick?
Sorry about that. The property and its contributing structures must have been in existence prior to 1940.
Mm.
So, quick
That was
question.
an HDC comment as well.
Yeah, 1940. Do we pin it to a date or do we pin it to a time?
Let's pin it to a number of years.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So 1940 is 85 years ago. So everything from 1940 to whenever in perpetuity really can never be historic.
Is there, Nick, in your mind, I'm sorry to interrupt, but is there a certain magic associated with that you're aware of?
No.
That 1940
So,
date?
no,
Did,
we know how it
did
happened.
architecture dramatically
No.
change?
No, we know how it happened. What happened was we have several instances of this in the regulations. Sorry, Patrick, were you going to say? I think we were going to say the same thing.
You're on my train. Go for it.
So we have several instances of this in the regulation that were very frustrating because they give a specific date. You have to have done something by X date. Well, 40 years later, that date is completely irrelevant, or 60 years later. What we need to do is to say any structure more than 80 years old, 100 years old, whatever, becomes historic. And I would say, let's get guidance from the HDC on that and preservation, folks, and just have them give us, if they don't agree, we'll average their numbers, a number of years, and any structure that is over X years. One of the examples would be that Nick and I have talked about this in the past. Mid-century architecture is about to be considered historic. Now, we grew up in those things, not everybody, but some people did grow up in mid-century. We struggle to see it as a historic heritage in the beginning, and yet look at how it is viewed now as historic heritage. So, and that's 1950s and 60s. So I think we have to take out the date and we have to go with a number of years where we will begin to recognize buildings as being historic or potentially. And then the HDC can say, well, what are you, crazy? This is 1970. It does not. We don't think it's historic, but that's what they're there for. I would suggest
they're
that.
going to pick a date that excludes all those wretched designs that
in the 1980s.
Well,
the 1980s had some really
even
sad,
1950s, 1960s.
Yeah.
You know.
So no, the 1950s mid-century is huge, right? So you're going to have to give consideration to that, and I think you just pick 100 years. Say, I'm just throwing it out there, and you let it be, because we've been slowly weeding out of the regulations where it says anything not built by 1986 doesn't count. Hello? So, I mean, we find those and we go, oh, we need to amend this regulation because it doesn't make sense anymore. So yes, you're right. That's how it happened. Patrick? That's it, right?
So I think the benchmark for architecture has been 50 years, but I'm not saying the commission has to agree to that idea.
50 is good.
Well, wait, just make sure. Excuse me, Patrick.
No.
1975, dude.
Yeah. See, put it into perspective in terms of years.
I appreciate that. I do.
Yeah. So blink of an eye, 50 years is a blink of an eye, as opposed to say 1940, 85, but 100 years ago it would be only 1925, right? So you have to be really careful about actually that number. And I think actually, as the chair said, HDC should opine on that.
And Preservation Trust.
What are we actually what are we actually looking at? And actually, how does this relate to going forward? Because to me, as an example, taking worst case scenario, the CVS out of the Post Road. If we say it's 100 years, in 100 years, that building may still be there. It's now historic. And you're like, we would be like, what are you, crazy?
Yeah, no, but it's
No,
a
but
very
hold on a
important
second.
representation of a huge mistake.
No,
Right,
no, but
so-
hold on a second, you guys. You're going to a simplistic answer.
Right.
The regulation says more than that.
Oh,
It
yeah,
says
exactly.
At least 1940, and then it talks about his significant historic and architectural and whatever. So just the fact that it was a brutalist structure from the 1980s does not necessarily make it historic unless the HDC finds that it had significant elements. So A, we want the number of years from them, and B, they have all the backup language. So it can be a building that's 100 years old and they're like, not historic. Go ahead, tear it down. I mean, that's how the regulation's written, Patrick.
Yeah, my statement about 50 is that's like an informal number to start with. And so that would be, I would recommend to the commission that would be the minimum number. But I think there are probably a number of towns that do this and have 75 years. You know, sometimes they do pick an epic when they're a community that has a certain style of housing or a prominent style, and then that's the era that they want to
Yeah, let's defer to the experts.
Exactly. Okay.
But I'm sorry, my only other point is the age is not the only determinant factor here.
That's right. Yep, we said that.
So we have to remember that it's age plus, and then, you know,
architectural and historic significance.
So I appreciate everyone being concerned about CBSs and, you know.
No, I don't want to name buildings because, you know, you don't know.
It's not the only factor. I don't think it will be the only factor when the commission entertains these.
Okay.
So.
No, or the HDC or anybody else who advises us. Okay, we had some questions. Do you want to go and get the public comment?
Sure.
Okay, so public comment, Ms. Fox. And wait, Ms. Fox, you went away, but all right, Ms. Fox is on her way in.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hopefully not too loud. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the commission and town planner and assistant town deputy director. Thank you for the opportunity. As I mentioned in the missive I sent over, we unfortunately for the Preservation Network were not able to meet in sufficient time before this meeting.
Okay.
But we will try.
Yeah,
perhaps
I mean, you know how long it takes to chew on a regulation.
Yes. So I gave you my personal comments, but and I will just try to highlight them because I did write 3 pages of it and I don't want to bore you. But I think some of the key elements here are we do have historic districts. And if you recall, we have not a lot, but we have several HO designated buildings within historic districts. And some of those are contributing and some are non-contributing. So I thought adding words where appropriate for historic districts or structures within a historic district would be an overall caveat, as it were, because what we went through with the Sherwood and Church Street situation where they wanted to take down 7 historic buildings, that's what we're trying to prevent. So that's an overall comment.
Well,
we have
Ms. Fox?
Yes.
On Sherwood, what we keep asking for is we think that that should become a village district or a local district, because the problem is the biggest concern that those people deeply involved in historic preservation wanted to do, and what we heard from Mr. Bishop, is he wanted to preserve the streetscape.
Yes.
The only way to preserve the streetscape is to do a village district. You know that better than anybody else.
Yep.
And they didn't think it was as important. The structures really have they didn't see architectural merit in the structures as much as they did the value of this middle-class neighborhood with a certain streetscape. So on something like Sherwood, if it was a village district, we would accomplish a lot of the same thing with that 830G that was proposed and with state law. So if there's any way that your group could partner with HDC and work with the 4th Ward to evolve a historic district, we would be overjoyed, because it is the streetscape that people cared about.
Right. I think that's a very good point. I'll be happy to see what we can pull
Thank
off.
you.
That's great. The other thing is the word substantial. And I use the reference because we don't really have a definition, and it's not clear if we're talking 50% less than 50%. And the only definition we have is under 49.1, which refers to a 75% replacement. I don't think that's really the intent here, but I think it's something that needs to be thought about, because that could be interpreted different ways by different property owners. That's number one. The other part is, and then these are small little changes. I would suggest adding the words health and welfare of the community by preserving historic and architectural heritage. So these are minor revisions I would suggest. The other part also, you have a section that says a unique estate setting, and I'm suggesting adding or within a historic district significant to the town's history and worthy, etc. Again, because we are trying to protect, we have local historic districts as well as national. So we are trying to protect, and some of those could be impacted by changes. And I think that's something we should be aware of. So I don't want to do too much on that. The other section under procedures, section C, a written report, and I'm suggesting that we say, including documents on file with the Greenwich Historical Society. And I say that because a lot of times people don't do the research, and you get a report, but it's not comprehensive, let me put it that way, and doesn't give some of the history of the property. So I'm suggesting that because the Historic Society has such a wealth of information on so many structures. So I think that would be helpful. The other section C, add the following after the word property: significant trees. We have historic and notable trees in Greenwich, as indicated by the Tree Conservancy, and they're still doing some inventorying in town on some of those historic trees, many of which are also on the state register. Again, people are not aware of this, and I think that would be helpful to have some reference to, that people will have to be able to document if you're trying to preserve the land and the area around the estates. So I suggest adding that. And the other section, I raised a question of why section 5 is being removed. It's just something to think about.
Oh, state law.
State law?
State law. Section 5, hold on, state law. Hold on. The one where you reduce the zoning incentives?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
No,
under procedures. Under procedures.
No,
number
she's
7.
talking about
Section 5,
the
I'm
no
scrolling up.
alteration to the architectural plans. The reason we were taking that out, Diane, is because that section applies to all special permits in town, not just in the HO.
Oh, thank you.
Because you can't, if you get a special permit, you can't alter from
Right.
the architectural plans, and you may have to come back to the commission even for just a site plan. So that goes into all of our zoning permit sign-offs now.
Okay, and they'll get into something else later on. Okay, number 7, at the end, filed on the Greenwich Land Records. One of the things we've discovered is that people don't do research into the land records, and new owners or future owners may not be aware of some of these conditions. So I think that's something to be aware of also. And it says also number 10, the commission encourages property owners to seek historic property and historic district designation. A lot of times, historic properties may or may not be easy to obtain, but we do need a few more historic districts in town to try to preserve the buildings. So
agreed.
That's why I'm suggesting that language there. Under incentives, I'm suggesting adding under paragraph 3, where you say completely complementary and distinctly secondary to historic structures, I suggest, and in keeping with the overall streetscape design. Some of the additions to some of these structures may be, it could have an impact, may not be a positive impact, could be a negative impact on the streetscape if you have an overall design element. So I'm just thinking that this is generic enough that I think it would work. R6 zone was left out. We do have historic districts in the R6 zone, so that's why.
You're right. It was left out in number 4, and I went back to in the current language, and it is for some reason left out. So we can add that in.
Okay.
So it was left out all along.
It's always been out, right?
It's
Yeah.
never
always.
and
since
but
this
should be
version.
included because we have the potential,
many.
Patrick.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was an old Scribner's error, Patrick.
I'm not sure if it's Scribner's error. I
Oh,
vaguely
I don't know for sure.
I
I don't,
vaguely
to
remember
me,
a conversation back when this version that we have now was adopted, and the concern I think of commission members and the public included
the zoning bonus,
Was maybe just the issue of the FAR bonus in the
Yeah,
R6.
the
Yeah.
FAR bonus.
yeah, to provide a
So,
bonus to the smallest district seemed to be maybe problematic, and that was left out. So I think it may have been intentional, but certainly if this commission thinks that they
We
want
had a
to.
discussion about it, right?
Mm-hmm. Under accessory uses, and it refers to 695. Now that includes athletic uses and family daycare and not requiring additional parking. So that could be an issue. Let's just put it that way. Because
Yeah,
family
the
daycare-
language and the language that I took out of that section, which is the D5, is anything that was just restating what is in another section, like the height needs to conform with the height regulations. We don't need to restate that again. The parking, all of our height regulations, our parking regulations, all that stays in effect. We don't
Right,
need to restate
I
it
would-
again.
No,
She-
I was just concerned that the accessory uses included indoor athletic uses
Oh,
and family
okay.
daycare. So I don't think that's something that you really want to encourage, if I can use that word. Indoor
Mm-hmm.
athletic uses, gyms, and maybe.
Okay.
well, but
so
it's allowed, but what we're saying here, if I'm in the right place, is it's what's allowed by 695.
Yes, exactly.
So you
That's
can't
what-
take away people's rights, right?
Well, that's the question I'm raising.
I-
But
if you,
that-
so the issue that, and y'all haven't said it to us as much as HDC has, the issue is how do you make sure people apply for HOs? If you remove a right that they would have in a non-HO, they may be discouraged. So why would we take it away from them if we allow it everywhere else?
Well, I guess the question would be, you allow a family daycare in an R6 zone,
Right.
but you usually require parking. So that's really where I'm coming to, because if you don't,
Yeah, but then
don't have parking
she
on the
just
site,
take, no,
and you
but the
allow
only
this
reason
under
she
the-
removed, but the only reason she removed the sentence parking requirements shall be as detailed is because that goes without saying. So you get the accessory uses that you have in 695,
Right.
and the commission's automatically going to make you have parking.
Okay, so that wasn't clear
So
to me.
what
why I was-
so what Tracy was doing was removing duplicative language that we're going to do anyway because another section applies.
Right, okay.
And why they pay us the big bucks, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I know. Number of stories, this is under number 6 for 4
Yeah.
for historic. Is this limited to the religious institutions? The language, the way it's worded, was not clear to me if it applies only to religious institutions or, and so it applies to all.
It's religious institutions, and it's again one of those dates, religious institutions that existed as of February 7th, 2018.
Got to get rid of that.
And that's based on the existing language,
Yeah.
which was originally the effective date of this amendment, and then Patrick was able to hunt down the actual date for me.
So we
Right.
need to get rid of February 7th, 2018. I have no idea.
But yes, number 6 applies only to religious institutions that
Okay.
existed as of February 7th, 2018, and are also in the CGIOZ zone.
And I have
A
no
very small set of
idea.
religious institutions.
No idea why it's 2018 whatsoever. Does anybody know?
That may be when you added the
I think it was
bonus that's proposed.
I think it was the meeting date that you approved the last amendment, but not the.
Correct. That would be right.
Right.
So, but that doesn't make any sense because as we were saying, a specific date then becomes useless and irrelevant. I don't know why we do that. So, okay. All right, let's work
I
on
was
that.
just, I was just concerned that a historic structure, if it's only 2.5 stories, could go to 4 stories. I wasn't looking at the religious institution.
Yeah, that section 6 only applies to religious institutions.
Thank you. Okay, that's great. The other section, paragraph E, minor exterior alterations interior.
There you go.
It say does not require a site plan and special permit. I agree that it probably doesn't require a special permit, but I'm concerned about changing to say it doesn't require a site plan. Now, basically what I go on to say, what you indicated here, if it goes back to HDC and they make changes and more changes, it could alter the site plan, and you, the Planning and Zoning Commission, and the files would never really reflect what was originally approved if somebody goes back, and they can go back to HDC several times for alterations. So I was concerned about that.
Okay.
Under number
Patrick,
3,
Tracy, comment you have on that? Because that's something that impacts your records more than anything else.
If I follow what Mrs. Fox is saying, it's the concern that there are repetitive alterations after the commission's decision that aren't getting tracked, right?
right. And so you would never, I mean, supposing they decide, and this has happened before, they're going to put a generator in and it has an exterior. Does it take away a parking space? HDC says it's okay. You never know about that. You know, that's an alteration to a plan. And we've seen that before at the Collins building, for an example.
Yeah. So well, my short answer would be, I think we can work out a system of notification that would keep us in the loop, but also I would say that if the HDC was allowing a removal of a parking space, I think that would be beyond their scope for the purposes of the preservation.
I mean, they could ask us to consider it.
Although this section is talking about minor work related to removal of things from the structure. It's not talking about new structures or parking spaces.
Yeah.
So
right. It's an exterior alteration. They may need to.
It's an exterior alteration.
Right. But if they enclosed a particular addition, you would never see that if they had to do it for one, health codes, building codes, whatever. And they want to make an addition of a change, and it changes the exterior, and replacement of materials. I mean, that's one of the key questions. If you've got wood and you're replacing it with vinyl, the HDC usually says no, but I have seen instances in which that has happened. So just point these out.
That wouldn't be a site plan issue.
And
no,
we had, and this is the topic of this is our ongoing conversation about this. Where you allow people to replace the materials, you just gave a great example, and they go to vinyl, for example, and the building is now sided in vinyl. You drive by that building and it doesn't look like it's historic to you at all. Right. So what have you accomplished by giving a zoning bonus? You've kept the internal of the building, but nobody in the world has any idea it's historic. And so we've been struggling with that. There's some great examples. One I quoted yesterday, which is, I can say it, right? The address is, I drove by One Cary Road, and One Cary Road looks like a brand new building across the board. And you can't tell that it was built in 1765. You have absolutely no idea. Putnam Cottage, when you drive by it, you can tell it's old. Now, it's about the same age, I think, maybe a little older, but you can tell that it's historic. How do we accomplish keeping that historic feel while allowing people to make their houses not have rotted wood and whatever? And that's, the commission's been debating that internally, arguing it with the HDC, and we're still not, if we said to you today, we still haven't completely reached consensus. And that's, how do you word it so you get something that truly says historic, rather than, what was the word you used yesterday, Peter Lowe? You said a good word. A recreation, I think is what you said.
Yeah. Reproduction, I think was the word.
Reproduction.
Yeah. So it doesn't look like those companies that made reproduction furniture where you know they're not antiques. So that's the thing. And we don't know how to say in a regulation, that's what we want. And then people are disappointed if we don't give them a zoning bonus when they're keeping, say, the streetscape.
Yeah.
Right. But keep also in mind that once an HO has been granted, there is a declaration of restrictions. It's on the land records.
On the land record, but
will govern what has been designated an HO. So
and that's why it's so important to record it. But again, it depends if people do research and catch it in time, if I may use that word, because that's been one of the problems we've noticed in the past too. Several.
Yeah, I mean, so Tracy's right. Okay, no, so now you can freeze it. She's absolutely right. Great point. you now have the declaration of restrictions, but what you have enabled when you first did it may not leave you with what looks like a historic structure. So this little commission and its staff, we have been working on that for how long? A year now?
This
like-
language, yeah, I think we hit that mark.
I
Yeah,
mean,
we're getting close.
okay,
If
we're
we
getting
haven't
close.
hit it.
So,
And-
Diane, before we move on, I got stuck on a question I didn't get to ask you a couple of minutes, like 10 minutes ago.
Mhm.
I can think of an HO that was granted in the National Register District, which would be, I can think of Griggs Street is in the National Register because that's still in, I believe, in the National Register.
Yes.
I can't think of an HO that's been granted in a local historic district unless there's one in North Stanwich. Can you?
And it's historic properties, I believe, is in the local historic district up in that area, if I'm correct.
And there's there's an HO overlay that's been granted up in the North Stanwich local historic.
No, historic properties. I don't think
Okay,
we
no,
have HO.
I don't think we have HOs.
there.
So before you said we had HOs in historic districts, and the only one I could
Yeah.
think of is Griggs Street,
Glenville,
Oh, yeah.
Glenville.
Mill.
Okay,
the mill is in
the
there,
mill.
And
or at least part of it.
Okay, that was good.
uh,
Good
in the
memory,
fourth-
Jeff.
I just found one, but I think the order is backwards. I think the racket, the clubhouse for the water club.
yes,
I think
the
that
squash.
the squash house. Thank you.
Mhm.
I think that got an HO from the commission and then subsequently is now in a local historic district. But I think-
Because because they didn't extend Strickland out to there. The Strickland Historic
Oh, no.
District.
no, River.
River Road.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
River
River Road, of course,
Yeah.
the River Road. Yeah,
Yeah.
there you go.
But
Okay,
that, I think the order of that was reversed where the district came after
got
the.
it. Okay, so we do have some
Here's
that
our
we can
map of
think of.
HOs,
Okay. The next question.
which I can have Dan overlay with the historic district so that we have them
that-
both on the same.
That
map.
would be
Great. That would be
fantastic.
great. Yeah.
That would be really cool. So the next thing you asked us about was curious. We think legally in point F, where we take out the language that you lose your zoning
Yes.
rights.
Yep.
We don't think the 2017 change in 8.2 allows that because you cannot, you cannot reduce someone's zoning rights as a consequence of demolition anymore.
I thought that might be the case.
Yeah, I thought you might think.
Well, you know,
Right, thought you
I
might be
don't think
there.
we ever had an opinion by town attorney on that to begin with. So that might be something to have in part of the record, you know, in case their question does come up from that standpoint. So I think that's valid point.
We
And I-
basically,
And again, part of section F was also eliminated again because it's covered under a standard enforcement process. I mean, if once you have an HO, you can't alter what you have without either getting a new approval. And so there's standard enforcement for that, or you have your declaration again.
I think the distinction is any willful destruction of a HO decision with a special permit. The property owner I don't believe they would be,
okay, so let's get.
they wouldn't have the special permit available to them after they did that. I think
Right,
they would only be allowed to what's as of right and,
Right.
So I don't know if Mengichi has signed off because she would have only been listening for the motion on the settlement.
No, actually, she may be listening now, and she does have some additional comments that I am going to talk to her about.
Okay, so why don't we
Or
have her
Monday.
look why don't we ask her about that? And if you can't do Monday, it's fine. I know that's kind of a rush, but let's ask her about that if it's willful demolition. But
Mhm.
I can tell you, you know, what I'm thinking about is people who have demolished. It's whether you're violating the deed restriction, the restrictions that are put on the property.
bingo.
Good
Okay.
point. Good
And
point.
whether when you violate those restrictions, you therefore can lose your zoning rights. It's a great question. I hadn't thought of
Yeah.
it that way. Okay, I think we're there.
Just one more thing, and that's why eliminate section 3. My concern is that the building.
Where are you?
I am. in-
3.
Yes. E,
No.
E3, minor exterior alterations.
Yes.
about not having a site plan?
Yeah, I know that's, you mentioned that, and I said it's really up to staff how they feel about site plan and the commission and whether there's enough of a record.
Well, minor work we've covered. No, what 3 was in the
Building
case
fire-
of where building in the fire department, the
Right.
department of health. Again, that's a requirement, or that's a situation that applies not only to properties in the HO.
Right, but if they say, if the.
And what we
building
were also
department
not
has-
sure what the 8 days was about, to be honest.
But it'd be good to get a notice in advance from, let's say, the fire department, if their building code changes and they have to change an exterior stairway or enclose it or something of that nature. How do you track that? How, and why would you know about that?
So I guess your question, let me see if I got this. The question you're asking is, you're making it an HO, and when you make it an HO, it has restrictions on it in the future. And now the fire department comes along and says, oh, this building doesn't work. It is very specific to the deed restrictions in the HO. And you have to undo those restrictions.
Right.
So Tracy, would that be legally different than a normal building that the fire department finds non-compliant?
I mean, from the fire department's perspective, it wouldn't be different. It's just you would have.
for us, for
there
zoning.
may be a deed restriction that needs to be
No, but-
modified to
yeah.
address that.
So for
and then
zoning, you
whether
need to
it
know.
has to come to you or not, it's going to depend on what
Yeah.
it is.
Okay.
Well,
so for-
a change of use might necessitate a change in the building code or fire code that's going in that building. So that could alter,
Right, but that would be covered under the permit process, the site plan or special permit process.
And then the
this is-
staff would highlight that it has to be
But-
amended, that the
But
restrictions have
this
to
is
be
saying you're
amended.
not going to require a special permit or site plan. I'm saying. if the
Only
fire-
for minor exterior alterations and interior alterations.
alterations, which may be required because of the fire code, because of the use changes that are going on in the building. That's my question. If you allow what I would call the home occupation or home office, if it requires a different fire code or building code changes, assuming, and I'm not worried about the interior so much as the exterior. That's the only thing.
Got it. Understood.
Okay, thank you.
And Tracy has a legal background, so she and Laura can work on that and whether or not there needs to be a reference to it. Okay, so that was good. And there were a couple of other things. You understand the horny issue, the thorny issue we have, and we really want to see something come on the books somehow to protect the fourth ward.
Mm-hmm. Great.
But
Great.
it's streetscape. Anybody can argue this has no architectural merit, the buildings are falling apart, but it's what it represented socioeconomically that's valuable.
Trying to get the local residents to buy into that. I'm
That's
sure many of them
why
were-
it can't be us. And
I know.
Old Greenwich came from the residents, and that's why
Yes.
it worked.
Exactly.
So, but it can't be us, because if we go and we say to the fourth ward, hey, we want you to be a historic district, they're going to go away.
Yeah.
We think, maybe I'm wrong, because they were very concerned.
Yes.
When in those 830Gs, and that world is not over.
Nope, not at all. Right.
So if they want to save their neighborhood, and they get to write, I'm preaching to the choir, but they get to write the village district so it can be as restrictive as those residents want to see it.
Right. We just have to get the residents.
Yeah.
There are
I think
many
I know
properties.
how. I just thought of
Yeah.
how. Okay.
Good.
All righty.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the help here.
Thank you very much.
Good.
Okay. Does anybody else want to speak about these amendments?
So,
Mr. Melillo?
Yeah, and then it went down. I don't know.
Oh,
there he
there
is.
he is. Okay. Yeah, we weren't going to let you off the hook. You know that. All right, there he is. Hello, Mr. Melillo. Unmute.
Andrew, you're not.
You're muted. You're still muted, Mr. Melillo. I can't. I so much wanted to be able to force unmute people, but I can understand why, they could be fighting with their dog.
That's not a dog, that's my spouse.
Well, I'm trying to figure out why one of mine has been barking like a lunatic. I hope you guys haven't been hearing it. Mr. Melillo, you're still muted. The little red thing is on. Oh, shoot. It's so frustrating when this happens.
Or
Okay.
star 6.
No, he's not on the phone. He's on a regular Zoom link.
Oh,
Here we go.
There he
How about
goes.
this?
Yay. There you go.
I had to change the privacy settings on my microphone because I think my phone's listening to me half the time. Sorry about that.
Okay, I'm going to remove the mute, Melillo. I'm going to make him an attendee, and I'm only going to leave you in here. Okay, go.
So I don't have much to repeat other than you guys covered most of it. Obviously the year is a big issue with HDC. One of the members of HDC mentioned in the first paragraph she wanted the word fencing included when it relates to structures.
Could you reach out to them and ask them, and let Tracy and Patrick know, we'd like to change that to hardscape.
Hardscape.
Yeah, that works too. I think whatever conforms better to the state statute, which includes.
No, it isn't the state statute so much as that we figured all hardscape, like anything that they put in, fences, sidewalks, whatever.
Yeah, which would be closer to the intent of the state statute, right?
Okay.
That's good. And that was one thing. And then briefly, you guys were mentioning the HO zones and HO properties and whatnot. I have, and I'm going to post on the HDC website shortly, a map that has every HO, and it has the tax ID, the location. It's on a Google map.
That's
it has
great.
every LHP, every district, and every plaqued house that's landmarked, but obviously has no legal protection, but still something to consider. So that will be available for you guys to
Oh, that would be
review.
great. Yeah.
And other than that, I mean, most of what you mentioned is pretty much on target with what I've been hearing. And the more I hear from the members, I'll just forward along to you guys.
That would be great. Okay, yeah, whatever. Tell them that we'd like to expand. Hardscape is to the entire, and that you heard everything we're going to change and work on.
Yep.
And we're still struggling to how you get, and give us the years.
Yeah, the year, I was trying to think if there was a consensus with that, and I don't think there is yet. So I have to go back to them
Tell them
and
to
ask them.
just pick numbers out of a hat, that as long as it's coming from the HDC, we'll believe them.
Okay, understood.
I mean, we don't know. I mean.
Well, there has to be a modicum of rationale.
Yes, I know. But I'm saying 1950s to me is now becoming historic.
Yeah, I mean, the first thought I had was perhaps, you have to do a title search when you buy a home that goes back 40 years, maybe something within that realm. There's really something that's like a legal standard that could be applied to all. It's hard to say because it's subjective in some cases. So I'll go back to them, but I think something around 30 to 50 years is what I was feeling with that.
Well, it also depends on the location. In some areas of the country, 50 years might be before the town was formed. This town goes back to the 1600s. So,
But it doesn't matter, because the point is that throws it into the bucket of consideration. That puts it on the conveyor belt, 50 years.
That's the thing. That's the important thing too. Just because you say 50 years doesn't mean it's going to get an HO.
Exactly. So you put it on the conveyor belt, and now it goes through the process of this. Is this worth granting an HO to?
It could be chewed out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Agreed.
I like that analogy. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, get in touch and tell them to feel free to write us and let us know. But I think we're warm. We're getting there.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you.
Good night.
Anybody else wish to speak on this? All righty. So we're leaving this application open. And whenever you're ready, you guys, I push the Monday thing because it's a day we sometimes have off in the afternoon, but we also have other things. So whatever works for you guys for language. And with that, we could end ending the public hearing. Mr. Basili? Mr. Basili, I was watching the clock, and I knew that at 3 hours, if we weren't done, I was going to have to give us all a break, or I was going to get.
I'm glad you know that after all these.
like it's getting to be break time. All right. Okay. So thank you. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks, we hope.
All right, see you then. Thank
Bring
you.
candy for us.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you.
right, good night, everybody.
Bye-bye. Okay. We have one decision.
Wanna do your
Sandwich
January
Avenue?
First.
Right?
Do you want to do your
Yes.
September 3rd minutes first?
Oh, okay. I hereby move approval of the September 3rd minutes.
Second.
All in favor, I'll take, you know,
Aye.
one of those.
Aye.
But aye. Okay, thank you. I had it in front of me. Okay. Now we're on to Mr. McRae.
Okay, this is 186 Sound Beach Avenue, PLPZ 2025-201. Final coastal site plan special permit applicant is requesting approval to demolish existing primary structure and construct a new commercial structure maintaining the office use on both ground and second floors located on a 1.35 acre parcel in the LBR2 OGVD and COZ zones. Whereas the commission finds the existing parcel is not conforming with respect to lot coverage, building area, FAR, and setbacks. The proposed front yard setback is to be reduced per section 6.129. The proposed setbacks would align with neighboring structures. The average setback for the adjacent properties is 5.5 feet. The proposed setback of 7 feet is in accordance with section 6.129A. The property was granted a LOMA in January 2025, which moved the property into an X-flood zone. And as required, the project appeared before the commission as a pre-application under PLPZ 2025-033 at the 3/11/25 hearing. Commission finds the issued comments dated 8/6/25, sending it to P&Z with comment. DPW engineering issue comments dated 10/9/25 indicating resubmittal prior to zoning permit. Zoning issue comments dated 10/6 indicating that the rear parking area lacks compliant backup area and turning movements. Sewer division issue comments on 10/9/25 requesting the applicant submit a signed letter acknowledging their P&Z comments. EMAC issued comments on 9/25 indicating favorable review, and wetlands issued a permit needs questionnaire dated 1/21/25 indicating no action required. Therefore, a motion to approve the application for final site plan noting the following. Sewer division comment, per the sewer division comment, the applicant has submitted a letter dated 10/14/25. And prior to zoning permit, the applicant should provide details on refuse pickup to ensure the pickup times do not conflict with parking, as the end parking space blocks the access to the dumpster location. And prior to zoning permit, the applicant shall provide all bug ratings for all proposed light fixtures, and the applicant shall address any and all remaining staff or interdepartmental issues.
Madam Jenkins.
Yeah, do we need to say we haven't heard from fire?
Yes. Applicant shall address any outstanding comments from the fire department and return to the commission should they require site plan modification.
Well,
got it.
I'm not arguing. Sorry.
You can argue.
If they're significant, they'd have.
Significant site plan.
They'd
Yeah,
have to go through the whole process again, ARC. and-
exactly. They
Paul,
have
is that
to.
you?
Who? Huh?
No, I think her mic was off. On, sorry.
Oh.
Okay.
Talking to her children or her dogs. No dogs.
No dogs.
Okay.
Not that.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else in the commission? It was the fire.
Door opening.
Okay. Do you have a ghost there?
No, an actual person, it turns out.
Okay. All right.
Here.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Jenkins has seconded. Ms.
Excuse
Jenkins,
me.
how do you vote? Vote?
Aye.
Mr. Lowe?
Aye.
Mr. Yeski?
Aye.
Mr. McRae?
Aye.
Alvin is also aye, and with that, the motion passes 5-0. And we're done.
Our first new building in the district, by the way. Very exciting.
Oh, did we ask for a staging plan?
No.
Staff comments? Was that a staff comment?
Nope. Could we revisit that?
Yeah, we can talk to the applicant about it.
Or no, can I just remove it? Can I just
You
make
wanna
another
add-
motion?
A second motion to add that
Yeah,
condition?
just so I hereby move that we amend the previous approval for 189 Sound Beach Avenue to include a construction phasing plan, as well as how the parking spaces will be managed during construction and the access during construction and the traffic hours, whatever you guys want on that. But you know how Sound Beach Avenue gets. It's got to be managed, that construction process. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, we're done. Okay, now we're really done. Nick, you're usually the one for the construction phasing.